Sarah. So we started with a topic on how our approach should be, or what we understand Swami likes. For that matter, any masters that we believe in, what do they prefer? In which form of worship do we prefer? So we're going to delve a little more on that today. But just to start, it's like a warm-up exercise. You know, every time we go for a main one, we do a little bit of warm-up. So that's important to understand why. I was just going through yesterday, I saw this where Swami has written similar to what we flash. Install a radio receiver, select the wavelength of the station you propose to listen, and tune it correctly to the wavelength. You will then hear the radio program loud and clear. Is it not? Your ear will tell you the accuracy with which you have tuned. Accuracy with which you have tuned. Akin to this, you must enter into a course of spiritual discipline. Similarly, he says, you know, choose any mantra and any incantation of the Lord that pleases you. Mantra, yantra, and tantra, correct? So, mantra is namasmarana. Yantra is again, tantra is the process, yantra is your pure heart, which you offer. So he says, enter anything, meditate on it, repeat it continuously with accurate care and steady attention, tune to the voice of God within you. And that's what he says, follow the master phase, the devil fight with him, finish the game. Follow the master he specifically connotes as the conscience. And this has been such a difficult journey for us. The thing which is so close to us, in us, is so far from us, correct? And that is what we all have been, looking around. Kasturi kundal vase mrig dunde banwahi. Kabir Das says I don't know what you call that kasturi. It's in the foot of the hiran, correct? And the hiran with that smell is so enamored, it's looking around, jumping around to see where it is coming from, where it is coming exactly from its own self. So that's what has happened, and we have forgotten to tune in, which Satsang sometimes reminds us when we come on a weekly basis, or when we tune in between somewhere, to see how we can connect, because there are a lot of disruptions of signal, as the week goes by. Sometimes we are too preoccupied with the work, with the emergencies, especially we are in shipping, so we get emergency, it's 24/7, it can happen anytime. But then in that part of the process also, it's important that when we get into that, offer it, pray to him. And then when you come out of it again, say thanks. That's important. So to reconnect and rewire, it's important. Satsang, why it is important? Swami Vivekananda says, the raindrop from the sky, if it is caught in the hands, it is pure for drinking. If it falls in a gutter, it value drops so much that it can't be used for washing feet as well. If it falls on a hot surface, it perishes. If it falls on a lotus leaf, it shines like a pearl. If it falls on an oyster, it becomes a pearl itself. The drop is same, but the existence and worth depends on the association it makes. Kya sangat mein hai? And that is where satsang gets a lot of potency, in the sense that we share each other's energy to move along. Just like in the office, you have a department, you have one department with several employees, some may be absolutely excellent. So the guys who are really excellent, somehow they are compensating for the weak ones. So as a department, you present certain figure, which is consolidation of all. So satsang, it's important. At least for me, it is important because it helps me to delve. Isi bahane, Saturday goes and Friday evening goes a little bit, get into that more deeply, and helps me to get into that journey a little more. And most importantly, not to forget Swami or the master in the din of this world, because sometimes the overriding situations, your problem, challenges may drown you so much that you will forget. Okay, so we were talking about this purity, correct? Purity in everything that we are talking, because unless there is purity, divinity cannot reflect, right? Even slightest impurity, when there was a disciple whom Buddha wanted to teach the stillness of mind. Give a very simple example. So he said, go, and there was go to the pond nearby and throw a pebble and tell me what happens. Can you see the water clearly, or what is the impression? Then he goes, he does that, and he says he can't see it because there's a lot of mud or sediments or whatever, something is obscuring, it's opaque. Now he says you wait for 5 minutes to let it settle out. When it settles down, then you can see the clear crystal water through which there's a mud settled. And Buddha says this is what it is. When you allow your mind to settle and withdraw, then the inherent nature shines. And purity allows that our inherent, which is everybody, if Swami has said Divya Srupra, it is very. Okay. So this purity was important. Now water purifies, correct? At home, we get blood purifiers, right? We get everything to purify around. In the shipping company, we have oil purifiers. Everywhere we have purifiers. So these purifiers are there in our system to purify the blood, purify the the air that we take in, so that in Delhi it is very much required. It's permanently on in my brother's house. By the way, today is his birthday, and I pray to Swami wish him that he comes out of that. Satsang is the purifier of the chitta. Now we are talking about food, body, everything gross, but how the subtle is going to be purified. And satsang is an important part of that purification process, where we sit down, reconnect, and understand where we are, recalibrate ourselves to bring in the purity that is desired for divinity to reflect. Bhagavan will not reflect. Still, there is some ansh of impurity. Swami says there are 4 principles that we must follow. The first principle is Teja Durjana Samasargam. Run away from the bad company. Again, how will you decide what is bad, what is good? That is discrimination. Correct, brother? Buddhi. And this is where the formative years, the Balvikas, gets up, where children start understanding. It's not about some person is bad, but what is bad in him. Not that the person, Swami says, don't hate the person, hate the qualities. There is no enemy. There is no enemy. The qualities are the enemy, right? So that is the first thing. Second principle is Bhaja Sadhu Samadgamam. That means always be in the company of the holy and the good. Third principle is Smara Nityam Nityam. Always keep remembering God's name. Bear in mind what is impermanent. There is Satyam, Nityam, Anityam. That is permanent and transient. Asatoma Asatya, Tamsoma Jyotiya, Mrityurma Mritam Gamya. So from the transient to the permanent, keep remembering this body, this existence is not permanent. It's like a dream when they say. And actually it is documented by so many people who have had out-of-body experiences. So we have to understand and be aware. And the fourth principle is Kuru Punyam Mahoratram. Do meritorious deed. And how do we do meritorious deed? Paropkarartham idam shariram. That means seva, Narayan seva. And sometimes, we confine seva to only Narayan seva. It is not. That is where maybe your starting point, where you have been associated Bal Vikas or your childhood. Okay, koi garib aata usko khana do, seva. But seva is even at home when a child helps the parents, or you help your in-laws, or you help your maid to get out of the problem that she's facing, or you help your boss or your CEO or somebody who's in distress, or there is some colleague. When you talk and share and do something about it, seva. And that is important for us. So, Paropkartham idam shariram. Beautifully put. Now, these 4 principles, I don't know where we stand, but definitely we are trying to do the second one. Nityam Anityam, we don't spend too much of time to understand what is permanent, because we are so drowned by the things. And that can only happen if we have time for our individual introspection and meditation. Then you can go deeper and understand. As long as we are in this world, we are part of this, we have been given. And this beautifully tells us how we can purify every aspect. The prayer that we do in Thursday bhajans. Oh Lord, this is what Swami has written for Hislop, Dr. Hislop, when he gave him. Oh Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to thee. He is asking Swami, you are empowering Swami, you are giving a power of attorney to Swami. Oh Lord, take my hands. Again, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langatem Girim. So, take my hands, let them work incessantly for thee. This is where your Narayan Seva and Paropkartham Nigam Shariram comes. Take my soul and let it be merged in one with thee. Take my everything. Kitna bada prayer. If seriously Swami takes this prayer, take my everything. Khalas. I don't know, devotion khalas, or you become totally Brahmagyan. And we do a lot of lip service when we pray. We don't mean it. That's why he's not taking it. The day you say, take it, possibly Harishchandra said that. That is where the entire thing, God came and tested him. His kingdom was lost. And he was in that, what do you call, Kabristan. There also he was challenged and tested. When his wife came with a dead son, and then he realized, oh, this is my son. And she said, and he said, no, my dharma of Kabristan, a dome, is that I must charge money for the burial, for the funeral. अरे अपने बच्चे के लिए भी करोगे? Yes, that is how it is. She didn't have anything. And that's where the rest is his manifestation happened. So take my everything and let me be an instrument. When you say instrument means, it represents total surrender. It's like flute. Swami says, be like a flute, hollow from within, so that I can blow my music through you. Correct? And we are normally not even able to offer that. Okay, so let's understand this. This is an important part. Purity, and this slide gives very beautiful representation. Now, purity of water, purifier, when we say what water purifies is the gross part of it. But water in itself has an impact. We all have gone through those experiments, Emoto experiments, where it has been proven how water constituent affects your body and your molecular frame of the water within. And the food that you cook with water again. So purity in profession, purity in sadhana, purity in service, purity of vision, thoughts. Again, it comes from the impulses. You see how they are connected by a chain. You can't have a vision just pure and you have hearing impure. Then you Pacho Indriya, agar, they are contradicting each other. That means they are not in harmony. Then where is the Trikarna Shuddhi? So purity cannot be conditional. If it is there for everything. You can't say I will be very pure when I go to science center. Correct? 100% purity. The moment you cross and then you go shopping or whatever, where is purity gone? And that is why Patanjali Yoga, it says steadfastness. That is perpetual, everlasting. That is important part for us to understand. Satsang is a purifier for the chitta, for the soul. So this was what we were saying, trying to delve into.
One more thing I want to add. So
earlier slide. Earlier slide.
Okay. So this good conduct, right, in introduction. So you are asked Krishna that these all sounds very nice to listen. But what if after following all this also doesn't really give the destination? It doesn't get difficulty and doesn't get that. So Krishna, you are doesn't get that will be attain heaven. And again he will want to complete his rest of the things. So anyway there is no loss in following.
Yeah.
Either you will get moksha, or if not moksha, the second level is heaven. And then again we born in some yogi family to complete that. So earlier I used to think in reality, in practical life, we never see such examples, right?
Yeah.
But when I heard about Srikant Soda, yeah, then whether what sister was, he was born in the country of his grandfather himself was a great gift.
Jivan Mukti.
Yeah, Jivan Mukta, Swami himself said that. And then even by birth itself, he had all this abilities to hear about.
Yes. He used to hear the plants speaking, he used to hear the animals speaking in the age of 13.
Yeah. And then people say, oh, he is some lost soul or something. But he is a...
No, he's a very divine soul.
No, he achieved a qualification, which essentially within US also very few people have.
Yeah.
The amount of grades and always got in his medical.
Yeah.
He's one of the top doctors.
He got the award also.
The award also. So we can't even say, oh, he's some great guy. I sometimes see him as an example. Yeah. He himself once told that he met with a big accident. And when he recovered from that, but what he says, that time Swami came and he said that your karma is over now. You can merge in your whatever.
Yeah.
So he said, no, mission is still not complete. I would rather stay here and continue the mission. So you can see his level of his. If somebody says we are getting moksha, I am done, right? It's okay. Because as soon as you come back in the world, there is always a chance that you get entangled into the middle of the karma. He said, no, I think I should need to take forward your mission.
Correct.
And he asked him to send. So he recovered from such a bad accident. Just to mention about this, how it links to a real world example.
Correct. Yeah, when people say that, there was a guy who said that, he was an atheist, his friend was a believer. He used to say, you understand it, there is no God, yes, 5 minutes. But just turn it around. If there is God, you wasted your whole life not believing Him. So whose loss is greater? Based on assumption theory. So what he was talking about, Shrikant Sola and the evolution, sometimes we get disenchanted. Why? Because we have not seen immediate result to the spiritual effort that we have made. Like right now, he's going through cancer, my brother. Or earlier, she had a brain tumor. Again, you can see a different level of acceptance or surrender or self-effort. Why you do what you have to do, but the surrender must be there, correct? So you can see how sister did, or brother does, or father did, or somebody does. There is a difference. Why difference? Because individual, I would say, spiritual potential varies. And then again, it is Prabhu Kripa, how he wants to. Like he gave to Brother Shrikant Kola, okay, you can attain moksha. But when you reach that kind of devotion or a stature, then God also gives you option. Correct? Just like employees, those who are very senior, like brother is principal. There are certain teachers, he may just, who was very experienced, say, you can do this, or you decide. But there are certain young ones or the new ones, you will say, no, you have to do this. So, yeah, every janma, every effort is useful. Like breakfast you are eating every day, everything adds up to your growth. We may not remember what we ate, it may have been very small, but everything has contributed. Same way, every puja, every prayer, every effort that we do is adding up, inching us closer and closer to somewhere where we will come out of this. So just a reminder, Kohum to Soham is an important journey we are making through any part of the studies or introspection or the efforts that we put in. We have this dementia, spiritual dementia, where we forget. Swami says, you guys are like dead letters in the dead letter box. This letter boxes, dead letter box in India, where is a box where the letter which doesn't carry from where it was sent or to where it is going, either one of them or both. So all those letters, which doesn't have anything clearly specific mentioned, is put in that dead letter box. Swami says, you all are like that. You don't know where you came from and where you are.
For the sake of running our thinking in daily life, see, there is another argument saying that okay, if the whole universe is created and because of the what you call generation, operation, and character, the whole thing is there. So why are you so bothered about it that it is automatically you are going to be completely gone and again you will be born?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is going to work. So why are you struggling so much? It's rather than just argument. But I think Swami is very clear in that aspect. What is the problem with us as you are talking about the purity, you are just talking about the other aspects of spirituality. The biggest problem that we have is we divide the daily life versus the spirituality. Swami said that there are two different things. It's not the same. So what you do on daily basis matters more.
Yeah.
What is being accumulated to us as that at the end of if you take the balance of the stuff or the situation of our own growth and evolution. So the constant integrated awareness, we are actually missing the bus. So you come to Sai Center, you worship, then that's what I think is, okay, you're getting, you get the extra child, you come back, but again we are one of them. But Swami, in fact, I still remember Kasturi in my grade level, I'm quoting that example of
Yes.
And I want to come and be at your
Serve
feet.
you.
Then Swami said, who is doing that work? Who is doing this? So
Whose work is that?
Yeah, whose work is that we are doing? So and then he starts naming. So he has done all that to prove us that he is not different.
Yes.
So we are the ones we are trying to make the differentiation, which is where we are not getting the right focus. So the purity is a long-term process. It's actually not overnight. I just get some.
Yeah,
Unless and until you had the.
because of Sanchit Vasanas, all those
Yes.
imprints, it's not. But at least we have to be conscious that there is something like that which we have to work on. You see,
Brother, I just did yesterday. I was coming by public transport. I saw one lady. She herself cannot walk. Hold the rod, but she was carrying 4 5 bags. She's such big ones on left side, on right side, and it must have 580 for sure plus 80 plus. So I was just thinking that a person who are not carrying our life properly, but we keep on loading and loading and loading so many things in our daily life and create confusion. So the point is that what we are carrying is important.
yeah.
So what we are living is important. So we'll have to be very. I think that's where all this the spiritual
Directions come. That's
purity.
it helps us to decide when we are in the crossroads. If you have heard Swami's speech somewhere, if you have spoken to someone, exchange, suddenly that crossroad will come and you know what decision to take. So that's a very decisive moment. So we have come from God and to God we must return, not like the dead letters. So let's be very clear about it. Okay, now coming back to God's liking, there's one where in Rama's time, when the bridge was going to be built up, so everybody was working, all the monkeys, trunks. Tiny squirrel was there watching all this and also wanted to participate. So he thought, what and how can I do such a huge bridge? So what will be I? So what it did, it started rolling in the sand. So as it was rolling, the sand it was collecting sand, right? And then it came and then it will drop the sand in that bridge. And this went on continuously, and Rama was watching this. And that's where Lord Rama came and saw this, picked it up, nicely careless, and that's what they say the markings and all came when Rama originally did that blessing. It's a symbolic reminder of Rama appreciating the work that he did. So again, it is not the paraphernalia, it's not about how much, but with what feelings, right? Then we have our own case of Lord Rama, Sai Rama, when we had this student super specialty hospital, and some of you, maybe you were there, I'm not too sure, but this is something which happened, I think, somewhere in 1989. Or student, it was really so touching. You see, Swami asked him, should I read your letter? Whatever you wish, Bhagwan. The boy recounted how Bhagwan was constructing the new hospital that would provide care to everyone in the society and prayed that he wanted to be a part of this mission, just like the squirrel. Yet, being a small boy from middle class, he was not able to do much. Sometimes, you get this feeling. That's why you have anonymous donation of charity, because there is something in you still stopping. But what he did, he mentioned in the letter for the last month, washing himself, besides not eating chocolates. Boy wanted to offer 100 rupee to Bhagwan, while he was ashamed that he could offer only small. He prayed that if this can buy a brick your hospital, it was worth it. And Bhagwan came out and he read and spoke about this. अब देखिए squirrel और ये बंदा, both stories are so similar.
Just to add on to that, the previous incident that happened was Swami Ganesh, the donations of crores of
rupees, yes,
from the devotees, and he comes to run and he declares everybody.
Tigret offered also, he had to wait a long time.
Yes.
The first dream that he got of Swami when he was in, I think, California, he was staying there as a young boy. He got Swami's dream there. And that was something beckoning to him. Then he was into whatever, drugs and clubs and stuff like that. And he says that he had to wait for 13 years before Swami could talk to him. But through dreams, Swami was guiding and nourishing him. So this is so important for us to understand. Bhagavan does not want Arpan, he wants Samarpan. He is not Bahya Priya, he is Bhava Priya. Right?
That Buddha story you told last time, right? The biggest donor of the day.
Biggest donor of the day. Yes. Something like that.
There is one more story like that in Islamic teaching. There is a fire going on in the house. Some houses become fire. So one guy sees one pigeon is drinking water in his teeth, like to throw on this. So he felt laughing that the pigeon, you think your one drop of water is even going to make any difference? I don't think it is not going to make a difference. But when Farishte, they will write the deeds of the people. There will be three people. One who put the house on the fire. One who just kept looking.
Looking at it, did nothing about it.
The people who tried to extinguish. So my name would be in the list.
Devotion. Saral Bhav Bhakti, such a simple lady. She could not stand the sacrifice on a marriage day and she escaped the house. And from there her struggle started. But then Matang Rishi was seeing her every day. She used to clear the path for the rishis so that there is no thorn. So watching and one day he said, okay, you can stay. And then before he left his body, he told Rama will come, God will come. And he also told that he will come looking for Sita, but that is all a part of the drama. You see, this is beautifully Swami has explained Ram Katha Raswaini. So when Rama is talking and that dialogue is going, that's a different style stepping. When it is going on, the Sita ko dekha hai, kahan hai, kya hai, main usko dhoondne nikla hu. Then she tells, my guru told that you will come. This is all. So again, her devotion, no packaging, straight from the heart. What I can eat, I must offer. And this is where, in 1970s, when there was a full contingent of devotees from Bangalore, the ladies, they came to Swami. And that time Narayan Seva concept had started. Swami had said, you take out one muthi rice, what you eat, and keep it aside. And once a week you cook, or you cook that and give it to one of the Narayana, at least one per day. And so she was saying, yes, Swami, we are doing that. So one particular lady said, yeah, Swami, I take out, I do, and I cook. And Swami said, okay. So, what rice you make? Swami, yeah, the rice, same rice. No, but for you cook 4 rupee rice, and for that Narayan said, we give 2 rupee rice. And she's still in a mode to argue her case out, because there's so many. Don't do. Swami will say, wait. Swami goes inside, brings a red bag exactly in which he's storing the rice there in Bangalore. Do you remember this bag? This is the rice. Okay.
Swami came to her house. Swami came to her house in form of a beggar.
Okay, this part I have not heard.
Yeah, this is how it happened. So it means this is her luck.
Okay.
This is her luck. Swami himself came to her house
as a beggar.
And then she is giving a 2 rupees.
Okay. How beautiful. Okay. So this is. Huh?
2004, there is. So they collected a lot of the distribute. And this part of I was not paid, right? But the people who was a part of the team, I know that.
Louder.
2004. I remember that. So they landed this dress they want to distribute to the. When Swami came to know about that, he stopped. And some of the dresses he sent by container or something that got stuck in. new dress, new pattern, for village.
Acha.
So it was forced to do like that.
Like that.
Because they could not distribute the dress color. And the dress is stuck. Whatever they know, it's stuck. And after that, 2000 December tsunami.
Oh.
After that. This was done in some October, November. And
So 2000.
2003 or
Yeah.
4. Since then, this dress got stuck in
Airport.
the port, Chennai port. Right? And what Swami holds, those who are done here, buy new one and give to the people when you are doing that. Don't give useless. That's number one. Number two, but wisdom. It was stuck there. And then
for tsunami.
Tsunami. When tsunami comes, the Chennai people, they are collecting all dust. That area, Chennai area, Patnam, all the areas. This dress released and distributed. So the difference, when you are going to donate for your things as it is not 2 rupees, so give the new one. But when emergency situation comes, tsunami came, they lost everything. For them, they don't look for a new one. But for other people, they are looking for new one. They are not like even below beggars. They are normal people living, you are supporting them, then you give to them. Then what they get excited, right? You get a Swami's gift is coming on Narayan Seva, you are getting used as a Swami's gift. What do you think? So, for them, you are giving the new one. For other people, they lost everything. They are desperate. Okay? For them, this is also useful. Don't worry. So, he made a time gap. He never got the time. People never got tsunami time. Right? He had a plan, even for much, to support him. So, this is, I really remember that.
He knows the master plan blueprint. Okay, this I need. For this, I will have to teach that. Yeah, again, this is important what he's saying. Sometimes things happen in our life. How do we adapt, digest, understand that? Yeah, this is extremely important. There may be signs you may not be catching it, and that's where tuning is important. If you're tuned and introspection is there, you will catch His grace in most of the things that happen. Wonderful. So there we are. Again, Sant Namdev. He collected Ganga water. He was going to Rameshwaram to offer. And then as he closes, and for days and days he's walking, but there's no services, flight or train or whatever. Fire mein chhale pad gaye, blood coming out. That's what scriptures say. He was walking and walking and walking through thick and thin and seasons. Finally, when he sees the temple is about to there and he sees the donkey screeching out of thirst, and many of them are pilgrims are walking across and carrying it for the Abhishekam. This is where spiritual and ritual comes. They're doing the ritual part of it. He saw that what's the use? I can offer it later. Let me offer this water to a dying donkey. And when he offers, there are a couple of Shiva manifested them. The other one says that then he took the other Gangadhar, and he went inside. And then the moment he did Abhishekam, Shiva appeared. But whatever it is, the main part of this learning is he saw the Sarva Jiva. Namaskaram, Keshav Madhu. I saw God in that donkey, so I did it. So it's important for us not only to restrict our empathy to humans, for animals, for beings. At least don't kill the cockroaches on a daily basis. You can catch and you can put it across somewhere or do something about it, because we don't know what is adding up, and we come back as four-legged cockroach and then somewhere into looking for a Narayan Seva rice somewhere to get into. So these are important part, right? With reflection, with sound and reaction. I think we have done. Another one. This is about, I think again, 70s. There was Swami's Sabha going on, basically this was bhajan and all. So one barber, one cobbler was there. The cobbler was looking and hearing all that. So he felt nice. He was thinking that, he had a wish that if Swami can come to my home or whatever. Swami, in the end of that course, comes to him. He said, how are you? What do you want? He said, Swami, if you can come to home. Okay. Swami said, I will come. just as he does to any devotee. And then Swami retired, the thing was over. And then suddenly Cobbler realized, oh, I did not give him the address. Kidhar aane ka? You know, and so he was sulking and all. So as he was walking the next day in his shop, suddenly he sees a red Mercedes car stops. And then Cobbler getting somebody in a car and coming down, and then he sees Swami himself. And then Swami says, come, let's go home. The Swami takes him into the car and drives down. And he's just enamored so much, he's not able to say, but Swami knows where exactly the home is. Swami goes to the home and then sits and has a coffee or whatever. So again, this incident tells us a cobbler who has got no stature as social status, but is being rewarded just by pure intent of having Swami in my house. And this is one of the greatest Shiva devotees, Kanappa. Apparently, some of us, I have not been there, but I think you have been, or Sister Ganga has been. Somebody, I think we discussed one time, Shiva temple now.
Sri Kala.
Kalahasti. Kalahasti Shiva temple, 36 kilometers from Tirupati. Now, what happened with this is very interesting, very, very important to know. As a teenager, he used to hate animal sacrifices. So he said, why are you sacrificing animal for any pujas? Even in our tradition side earlier, when you go there, when you have Upanayanam or anything, they'll come and sacrifice animal to appease the goddess. A lot of parts that superstition still goes. So he sacrifice to bad qualities. Why do you sacrifice an animal? So he was outcasted by his tribes. So Kanappa was all alone. Then he used to visit the jungle, and once he came across Shivalinga, a Shiva temple. So he started, sitting there because he felt a lot of peace. Okay, Lord Shiva in that Shivaling became his companion, his friend. He used to talk, and this is again important lesson that we get from this incident. Don't treat God as picture, but picture as God. When you have the photographs, when you have this, are we communicating to them? It's not just puja time, even otherwise. A lot of people, including my family also, my sister also, she will sit down, talk and blast out sometime. And then she will take and thanks. It's an important part to show and feel the omnipresence of God. So what he did, he started talking everything, okay? And so once what happened was, okay, so he would offer, he would do some hunting, and then he will, whatever meat remaining, he'll come and offer. So priest started coming next morning, he saw that blood and even bones are around in the temple. I am cleaning and purifying. Who is this urchin who's coming and doing all that? So priest started cleaning. Okay, pura clean karke and then go on. Again he will see this. He was not, believing what's going on. Then what happened was, one morning as the priest went about his sincere worship of the lingam, bewildered, cursing the perpetrator of this, something happened. The lingam sprouted eyes. Now the priest got scared. This is some pretatma. There is something going on, because earlier was meat, blood. Now some tantra vidya is going on. Now this eye of lingam, because we are so used to impassive Lord, correct? We cannot expect God to be active. We want him to be passive inside. Oh, bahar aa gaya. Now the priest ran away from the place. And it actually tells us, how things shape if it happens to us. So the whole eye seemed to have been damaged. Okay. So lingam sprouted eyes and the priest vanished away, and the left eye of the lingam began to bleed. The bleeding was very profuse. Whole eye was damaged. Now when Kanappa came to the temple, he saw this bleeding eye. He tried to cure and do something about it. He could not stop the bleeding. So he said, okay, let me do one thing. Let me pluck my eye and put in that eye, because this is a healthy eye without anything. So he plucked one of the eyes and placed it on the Shivalinga. So that eye cured, but the other eye started bleeding. And then what to do? So he was not scared of putting the other eye, but he didn't know the moment he will remove, his fear was he doesn't know where exactly the eye is on the Shivalinga. So he put his left foot on the first eye which he had cured. And then as he was going to put the arrow and take out, Lord Shiva appeared and then rest is history, and then it became a temple, like brother was saying, Kalahasti temple.
Actually, there is a Sri Kala Hasti. That means spider, elephant, and a serpent. Three of them used to worship this linga.
Okay.
So that's how the name Sri Kala Hasti.
Okay.
So very,
so symbolically, Kannappa is a devotee also. He worshipped there, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So the name came as Sri Kalahasti, and that's where the incident happened.
But imagine the surrender. I mean, imagine the devotion. ये क्या examples है?
Every day the elephant used to come and pour the water and clear up everything. But again, the spider would come and make a mesh to cover the shade. But the serpent would also come and
for the Shivlinga to protect.
So then that's the conclusion. All the three is to fight.
Wow. But irrespective, the best part of learning this is we should not treat God as photo, but photo as God.
Yes.
This is what Kannappa did. He believed in the omnipresence of the Lord. It was not just Shivalinga, but it was like Shiva himself. And why? Because he didn't have these impurities. I think he was very pure in the chitta. और वो तभी आता है. वो experience comes only when we are completely, yes.
So this is what just reminded me last week. There is a stupid temple. That is regarding whatever regarding. Level 3, the
Shri Bhava temple.
So we went there. We like last week. We went there. The one guy that day got a Tamil. So he asked me, "Do you know Tamil?" Okay, I don't know. This fellow says, "This Bhava is great." He was talking about Sadhana. It's very great. And he said, I met with an accident, and I was after 8 years. I was on that. I lost everything, including my house, family, everything. Now I'm coming back after coma and all these things. I'm started working. I'm getting everything back. Even hopeless, he was 9 months, 10 months of coma, 8 years on that. After that, now he's gone. And you can see that this area got, and all starved and all. So he was, then we asked him to go to pray. This is a few things in the lift, first floor to third floor, 2 seconds. That only told all this. Then he went. Okay, his behavior is totally like kind of because he told. And somebody came out of the temple by that time. He was wishing this guy who is told me so this because they know each other. Oh, so go and pray Swami, pray Baba. The other fellow told. So they all know this fellow with accent, miraculous escape from that. Then after that, what he was doing is straight away said the Swami's Baba's statue in front of that, kneel, talking him like anything. It's not like so it is not like that.
Wow.
Okay. So there are so many people in that day. And normally in temple we go, but he's just talking like we were talking him just like that. So he completely forgot the level he's sitting is, he's simply talking as his friend. And I was just nearby for him. Said, see, looking after the so this one doesn't care. In front of us, he just told poor man, just introduction. 1-2 seconds. After that, what he's doing is what he told his sister also. I'm just witnessing that last week. Just like that, full Josh, talking like that. So I told, why Swami came? He's like, this is what nothing else to explain. He's just talking like everything to just like a friend.
Yeah, correct.
All of the COVID, you were in this
Coma.
Or not. So he's now recovered. Now he can walk. So he started working. So it's extraordinary. Because that day I told her, this is nothing.
Good.
What I think we have to compare about something so that we will if
Yes.
somebody thinks, oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, that didn't happen. And you just compare against this situation, right? You have everything.
Correct. I complained for shoes till I saw a man without feet. So, yeah, but again, we should not be inspired that we start shouting because we'll be taken out of the context. You understand? Again, it is depending on one-to-one equation. If you're talking from within also is okay, but talk, communicate, that is important. I said, alas. Okay, so
The brother once came over he used to talk to Swami like this.
Hmm.
So once so in his talking, he used to tell something. So once he told Swami, you are just in meditation. Then he came to talk to you. So Swami is there. Do you think I mean sign or something like that? So he asked, okay, if you are really that, if you really, you had to accept a letter from my hand. And that time Swami has told clearly, he will not accept a single letter from anybody. Letter from my. So he was sitting in the queue. What is the name of the brother?
This is what Arpan.
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 So
I heard that.
no, he narrated it in over here.
Yeah,
He told the same thing. So he went and he know. He said, yeah, he was all his imaginary thing. What I was thinking, I was talking in a imaginary way. And then Swami turned around and started talking to the other person in front of him. And behind his back, he was doing like this. Doing like this. So he was watching, right? So he said, okay, he just stuck the letter
It looked like that Swami was standing there.
yeah.
He just
Like figures are like
as he's waiting
was like so sitting, another person sitting there. See, Swami is not collecting no letters that day, right? So, but in front of him, he's like, he's figuring. The point is, one more point, I just want to add, what you told the concept is, it's not Swami relationship. We are visualizing Swami in like our dreams or our thoughts or our prayers. This is the only because Swami is not doing anything. Swami is like that, Swami do that. We are trying to get whether Swami hearing that or not. That's what is doubt. Because we are not directly going and talking to Swami. After home or when we are praying or doing something or something. So he just want to trust Swami. Whether my thoughts, my things are telling. That's what is he came here and he was telling that. Trying that. So road, Swami is listening to even your Swami in your dreams or Swami in your thoughts, and Swami is physically doing this for that one and say. So whatever communication you are established communication, he will listen. That's what he tried to establish and prove that.
Why one brother in when the bhajans are playing students also, let us he is visualizing Swami's darshan happening. He's closing his eyes and bhajans are going on. And Swami came walking and still bhajans are on. He's in his own world, like so when he opened his eyes, Swami was there, and this man's thought was, what I'm seeing inside and what I'm seeing outside is the same, or what is confusing? Then Swami confirms to him, who's the Andar Bhaishcha. So it's very clear, see, if your heart is clear, what you see inside, what you see outside is. So, but brother, Dr. Ani Kumar got the message.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Have a wonderful week. Yes, guys. We catch up again.
Aram, thank you.
So it's basically a clarion call from Bhagavan on the Satsang days when he says that we take some effort to connect to him, and he says, are you ready for the call and going to accept it today? So the other time we said, when I think it was Ramana Raoji, when he was talking, Swami, see, so many devotees are waiting for you for the darshan, and then he corrected him, it's not the devotees, it's I who am waiting for the darshan of the devotees, because positive and negative combined, then only you have a circuit flowing. It's Bhakt and Bhagavan when come together, then only you have the whole purpose of his creation fulfilled, when that yearning between Bhakt and Bhagavan is there, right? So are we ready? And Satsang gives us that moment where we try to connect. Again, coming back to what Adi Shankaraja ji, put up, Satsangatva and Nisangatva. It's very, very important. The progressive journey, as we must see, is from Satsang. We can't hold on to Satsang the entire life without going and delving within, because the whole changes have to happen within. What we are doing by Satsang is we are allowing as a catalyst to make that change faster. Correct? Because there are so many janmas of vasanas and imprints that we have to come out of it. So Satsangatva Nisangatvam, we are tuning in to that voice of the conscience. Brother, please come here. Because when we speak, then those online can hear sometimes when we share. Nisangatve nirmohatvam. We have gone through this ladder. Again, the purpose is have a sense of detachment. Detachment from the fruits of action. Detachment from pleasure and pain. You know, the feeling of pleasure and pain. Things will come. We may swerve. Why? Because we are humans, we are born, we are not perfect. But how much time we take to come back to that average position, the mean position, is important. So nirmohatve nishal tattvam, the whole exercise is because we can purify ourselves. Nishal tattve jivan mukti. And then we end up into a stage where he can grant us that and say, okay, now you are qualified. Welcome to this abode. Right? Otherwise, it's a physical journey to Puttaparthi. We are going, not realizing Puttaparthi is put apart the I, put apart E. Right? And that is the whole purpose. So are we ready to take a call? And Satsang acts like a compass. It's directing towards Bhagavan. And if we take the measure and the help of this compass, it not only changes the disha means direction, but also the dasha means condition. In what state of being we came in, and in what state of being we leave, is very important of any spiritual exercise that we do. And if we feel that we are the same person, with the same mindset, with the same stress which came in, I think we wasted a lot of time, in the sense that we have not applied. And that's what Guru Nanak Ji said in a darbar, when Akbar was having a darbar, and he was talking about, there was one of the mullahs who was talking about the realms of spirituality, and Akbar saw this man is laughing, is smiling. And he used to respect, he was a democratic thing, he used to respect the others, all the religion. And then he said, Guruji, why are you, I saw you laughing and smiling when he was speaking about depths of spirituality. He said, well, I'm laughing because while you're listening to that, your mind is into that part of the Raj, kingdom. How am I going to acquire that? You're not physically present, mentally present. So you're not using it. You're not. So I started laughing. Why? Because everybody's pretending here. So it's an important part where we have to realize that Satsang is a compass to direct it, to use it, and to go towards the journey towards God, provided we are tan, man, dhan, trikarna shuddhi, thought, word, and deed are present in harmony for any of that exercise that we do. And Bhagavan says for Satsang, ascetic practices, years of constant repetition of the name, pilgrimages to holy places and shrines, study of sacred books, this will not help the aspirant to spiritual victory as much as communion with God. The whole underlying experience of all these exercises is, have we felt that bliss? Have we felt that love? Have the tears of that joy come out? Because it's very important. Sometimes you recall the days when, we are so spiritually disabled, we can't recreate those moments again and again. But imagine Swami was coming in darshan and suddenly your tears will come out. Isn't it? All of us. That aura is such overwhelming. That love is so much overwhelming. I remember when I used to always go to, for my sailing, I will always go to Puttaparthi first, then go to the ships abroad, right? To join a ship. Because that, my mother also used to, and this again, Balvika's parents make a difference. Karaksha Kavach, she used to say, you must have a darshan. And what happened that time when I was going, in one of the times I'll share with you, Swami came, it was in Ramesh Hall. I don't remember exactly, maybe 93 or 94. Swami came in for darshan and he went straight into the middle row to come cut across, but he chose not to that day. And when I saw him passing this way, I still had the hope that when he returns, he will come turn this way. And when he did not, heart sunk and I started crying. Crying, just why didn't you come in this lane? My grandfather was there sitting. He thought the Swami was taking some chocolate, happy birthday throwing. So I did not get a chocolate. So he got it. So he was giving me that chocolate. He thought I'm crying for that. And it was so intense, brothers and sisters. After, I think, maybe 30, 40 seconds as he goes, because he knows, he's waiting for that timing which we are not able to create. And he turns back and comes and stands in front. blessing and I take Pad Namaskar. It's not that he's talking to me, but he's standing there. Can you imagine the tears and thrill and joy for that? And then I felt happy, okay, I'm going. Now, next time what happened, one time, 95, again, just to tell you why it is so important for us to feel, that presence. I was about to go to UK for my exams. We have marine engineers, various level, third engineer, fourth engineer, second engineer, and chief engineer. Chief engineer I did in Singapore. So second engineer I was doing in UK. So that particular night, it was a couple of nights before Diwali, and when I was moving in Mumbai, the masjid station, there's a masjid station, right? Local train if you have traveled. I didn't know, I just boarded a compartment because I had to rush and do all the formalities for the flight, which was that night. And that time, apparently, I could not take Swami's darshan due to some reason, whatever. Those days without phone, without SMS, without electronic booking and stuff like that. And it so happened the compartment was a ladies' compartment. Since most of the people were there, I also joined. I didn't know, I didn't see reader. It was night time. And then there were these plainclothes guys who were from the police or whatever you call local. They immediately after that next station, they deboarded all of us. And we were like, standing with all those, you can make out, not that I demean anyone, but you are standing in a long queue where you are being paraded, without handcuff, of course, but paraded, okay, leke chalo, inko sabko leke chalo. Then we went to the other train, which is coming back to VT. So we were brought to VT. And then you are sitting on the floor in that one dingy room where that constable is sitting and looking at you like this. And I bola, Bhagwan, abhi darshan nahi hua, this time no darshan now, this is pradarshan now. No darshan means pradarshan. Now, and where have I landed? I should have done the darshan, but I tried. All this is going on. And that Havaldar then says, and they were going to put challan, so you have to basically go to the court and get yourself, pay the fine. And I have my flight. So now the intense prayer goes, Swami, you know that I did not read ladies' dabba. I just went in because so many people are there. So this Havaldar calls me, he says, okay, aap thoda achhe ghar ka lagte hain. He says, you look normal person, because a lot of people there, maybe they are habitual ladies compartment guys, I don't know. So he said, you look normal. Okay, from this rear door, you go. Without any money, anything, he allowed me to go. So that is the first thing. Now this is the credit, credit which you did not earn because you didn't go for darshan, but still he is giving you, okay, chalo, baad mein aaj hisab karega. Now I take a flight and I land in London, okay. So when I land there, it is deep night, maybe 2, 3 a.m. My baggages haven't come, and London being London, so it was October, it's cold, so baggage has not come. Now another one. So after the police thing, now my baggage is gone. So night time I have to go to a hostel to find out whether they have confirmed the room, and they said they don't have, and it's raining heavy. So then I come out from there, take a cab, and London, how London is, we're studying, so we don't have that much of money. You always look at the meter, right, how it is in pounds, bouncing. And night time, the hostel said Winterbottom Hall, that hostel name. They said, no, sorry, we haven't confirmed room for you. Now, where you stay? Correct? Abhi to road pe aa gaye, literally in the word road pe aa gaye. And then you are looking around, nobody is opening because I went and pressed some of the bell, getting wet. Again, prayer, and then there's one lady who opens. And she says, okay, I can let you for the night, for the bed and breakfast, something like that. I then pleaded and she allowed me for a week. Okay, now what happens, you see? It wasn't a week that I stayed. Second or third day, I'm looking at advertisement. I said, I can't afford this because it was 40 pounds or some 80 pounds a week. It was difficult to sustain. So then I'm looking for an ad. I see an ad. A lady with old people, old age home type, she's maintaining old people. And she said, she has a criteria, only above 65 apply. Correct? Now I am about 29 or 30, I don't remember, 95, 68, yeah, 28. Well, how do you age faster? You can't age, right? So I called up that lady and she said, her name is Julie, and she has the out-of-body experience, by the way, she shared later on. She said, yes, how can I help you? I said, I'm stranded and this, that, and I'm a needed student and all. Yeah, but what's your age? I said, I'm 28. Well, you don't qualify for this. I said, please allow me a moment to express myself, to talk to you. only the gray hair is missing. Otherwise, you'll find the same wisdom, something like that. I said, she allowed me to come and I went there. And we had some spiritual exchanges, Swami has groomed nicely, so we could talk, and then she allowed me to stay. So my roommates were all 60, 70 plus, you can say. And by the time I left from 7, it became 5 also, because 2 of them departed. Not because of me, but the time had come. And I again felt, now Swami, this has happened. My baggage is gone. I am distraught now. The money for 3-4 days I stayed there is gone. And now you're crying. And then when I'm sleeping in that bed, the bed was like a spring bed and I got a backache. So I was immobilized. The old people used to carry me to the toilet and all. It became that, no, Swami, now this is what I should not have done and all. Forgive me, please, please, please. And then, what happens? When I switch on the next day, the television, this is what he does. In UK, South Shield, the television switch on and you have Swami there giving darshan. In the television, because there was a documentary going on about the Indian gurus, and Kushwant Singh and T.N. Session, the interviews were on, and he gives this assurance. As this is going on, I got a call from the airline, the baggage has been traced, give us the address, we are going to bring it back to you. Aise settle hota gaya, and things happened. So the point here is, sometimes we don't deserve, we just desire, but he gives us the credit, correct? If only we can put those, I would say calibrations that I must do this, Bhagwan, I must do this, then only you award me this. I rededicate myself, because he wants pampering. It's an important thing for us to understand. Bhagwan wants that, for us to love him undyingly. So, are we ready to take the call? Yes, we are. That's why we are all sitting here to, have that link today. Let's see. So finally, to realize the divinity within, the whole journey of satsang or any seva or activities is to realize the divinity within. Now let's start this day with gratitude. It's a very, very important again, not because of yesterday when I heard that news, but even otherwise. Now you feel it's so uncertain, because my brother was also sharing one of the Satna incidents. The young guy just left. So you don't know now, due to COVID or vaccinations or stuff, we don't know what's happening. But there is more rise in sudden heart attack cases without any symptoms. So let's be grateful, because if you forget being grateful, हम क्या मुंह दिखाएंगे? वो तो कहेगा, I gave you so much, right? And I remember Brother Sundar Iyer, his sharing of experience. He said one day he was personal attendant to Swami, and when he was there with Swami, one day he saw Swami in a very pensive mood with all the letters. He had finished reading the letters. And then he said, Swami, why you're in such a serious or a pensive mood today? And Swami says, see all the letters I've read. Somebody wants promotion, his daughter is ill, his granddaughter. Nobody has thanked in even one letter to Swami. Nobody has thanked me. That is why he was so pensive. Can you imagine? While he's there to grant, he's waiting for the day when he will grant what he has come to give. And we are not asking that. We are not even thanking him for what we have. जब ये छिनने लगता है ना, जिंदगी का यही रोना है. जो मिल गया वो मिट्टी, जो खो गया वो सोना है. What we have got is just nothing, is dust. Till we lose it, and then we realize, oh, it was gold. So if you have food in your fridge and clothes on your body and roof on the head, place to sleep, you are richer than 75%. Again, it is based on some research which I heard. If you have money in your wallet and can move around, you are among the 18%. That means if you are carrying a wallet and money and cards and all, if you can breathe without ventilators, of course, we are fortunate that we could breathe without ventilators in those COVID days. If you can actually read and understand, we are better than 3 billions who cannot. Imagine. If you can easily eat, gulp and digest, again digestion. How lucky we are. Because some of the dementia patients, when they take in, they forget to swallow and they die because of choking. And we just eat and eat and eat and digest and overeat, but we never thank him. Not only for the food we eat, but for the digestion. The fire of God which is there sitting and doing this part of conversion of gross into energy, right? If you are alive today with more health than illness, then you are more blessed. Yes, as millions don't know whether they will survive the next day, even the meals they don't get. And this is a fact, brothers and sisters. Man wants the grass, not the grace, creation, not the creator. He wants the gift and not the giver. Again, it's about when the accounts, there was a person who died and he was being taken around into various departments in the heaven. There were a lot of departments, you know, and there was one counter which was empty, right? And then when it was asked what counter is this counter is okay. That was thanking. I want this. I want these. All these prayers and these applications were flooded in different departments. Some wanted marriage, some promotion, all. One was empty, which was of gratitude. Nobody wrote. Nobody said that I'm thankful for whatever we have given. When you see the recent Padma Shri awards, by the way, 2 days back, I was seeing that in the Rashtrapati Bhavan in India. Padma Shri is one of the highest civilian awards, one of the awards. And when you see the recipients these times or last few years and even this time, you see hardcore rural urban people who have done so much to the local society and villages. They are being awarded. Suchiya, who didn't have a meal. Sindhu Tai, the mother of orphans, she was known. There was a lady who almost died, pregnant. She was driven away by her husband. And the child is born in the cow shed. The cow protected her. And she had to cut her umbilical cord by a stone. That was her state. And she was going to die. And she was going to commit a suicide when she heard a crying old man. And she said, let me help him out. And then came the reason, oh, I must help out. And that's where when she was sitting in that cremation ground, she heard this voice. Tu kyun marti hai? Tere se zyada marne wale log hai, unko bachao. Go and save those who are more depressed. And imagine a lady who was driven from home, who was outcasted, who was character assassinated, who didn't have place for a child. And she chooses to thank God for the opportunity she got to almost 2,000 plus children she brought up, and they are in different positions. Imagine, we look for angels and gods. These are the angels and gods in us. So let's be thankful. I asked for strength and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom, He gave me problems to solve. I asked for prosperity, He gave me brain and brawn to work. I asked for courage, He gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for love, because a lot of times we say we are not getting love, we are not. And He gave me troubled people to help, what Sindhu Tai did. Why so many of the Sevadals who do, just out of sheer love for Bhagavan and for the person, Bhagavan that they see in the person. I asked for favors and God gave me opportunities. I received nothing that I wanted, but I received everything that I needed. And this is a big journey to climb from want to need. Correct? So let's for a moment, always in the day, anytime, possibly when you retire for sleep, thank Him for the entire day. When you get up, thank Him that you can see, you can get up, you can walk to the toilet or do your daily course. It's an important part of the prayer, so that when we depart, at least we have been loyal. Wafadar unke rahe. Correct? Karmas, let karmas take what they come. That's different matter. But let's be thankful every time. Now we were into this topic of bhakti or puja, sadhana or sadhana, arpan or samarpan. What does God like? We have traversed a few miles on that. Let's see what we have today. Again, Satyabhama experience. Rukmini experienced Satyabhama. Satyabhama wanted to, own Krishna. And by that, it was a challenge, okay, weigh me out. So if you weigh me out, I'm yours. Now Satyabhama put all the jewelry ornament that she did. Correct? Oh, dekhi wo hui nahi raha hai. I mean, the scale is like this. Krishna is still down. How to bring it down? And what did Rukmini had to do? Who had just pure love for Krishna. Just one leaf, she remembered his name, surrender, love for Krishna. She puts that and the whole balance becomes equal. And that is what we are saying. What does God like? Sadhana or Sadhan? Arpan or Samarpan? Correct? That Samarpan, that surrender, what Rukmini had, brought Krishna to his leveling ground where acceptance came and followed. So again, an important part for us when we are doing what we are doing as Archanam, as worship, Everything is fine. Nobody is saying demeaning, because Archanam is also one of the 9 forms of devotion that we have. However, we have to look for the best, because when we have got the best Lord, the Paripurna Avatar, so devotee, how can he be inferior? He has to be also best, right? Dil mange more. So we have to get the maximum. So the maximum is Atma Nivedana, Samarpan, right? So the Lord is not swayed. Swami says, such is the power of the Lord name and the love-filled offering to God. Lord is not swayed by wealth or scholarship, power or position. Love alone can move him. We saw the examples of Guru Nanak Ji and all, where power, position, the king also could not win him over. Correct? And this is what God is waiting for. Baba Amte, the very famous social reformer, when there was a temple and people saw that he never visits the temple, said, why don't you take some time and go and visit the temple which is close to you? You're not an atheist. And he says, why do I need to go to the temple when Narayan himself is coming in the form of these lepers, these patients? I get a chance to serve. He's already into that. Why does he need it? वो उस awareness में है. Seeing Narayan into everything. Again, typically what Bhagwan says. Okay, let's listen to this, because we sometimes get too carried away with offerings, archanam, which is good, but then we miss the bullseye, which is such an important thing. Let's listen it out. I hope the volume. This is sound. This one. Let's see.
సేవలు చేయటం చాలా గొప్పతనం.
Service is noblest of all.
న తపాంసి న తీర్థానాం న శాస్త్రాణ జపానహి సంసార సాగరోత్తారే సజ్జనం సేవనం వినా. మనం తపస్సు చేయకపోయినా పర్వాలేదు.
Doesn't matter even if you don't undertake penance.
ఏ తీర్థయాత్రలు చేయనప్పటికీ పర్వాలేదు.
You don't need to go on pilgrimage anywhere.
ఏ పవిత్రమైనటువంటి ఒక క్షేత్ర దర్శనం చేయకపోయినా పర్వాలేదు.
You don't need to visit any pilgrim center.
సజ్జనం సేవనం వినా. సేవలు చెయ్యాలి.
But you should render service.
సేవకత్వం నందే నాయకత్వం ఇమిడి ఉంటున్నది.
It is only in the spirit of service lies the leadership.
ఈ సేవలు చలిపినటువంటి వానికి ఒక విధమైనటువంటి ఒక శాంతి చేకూరుతుంది.
The one who serves will be peaceful.
ఈ సేవల వలన తన యందున్నటువంటి అహంకారము నిర్మూలమవుతుంది.
By this service we can give up our ego.
Nothing. He says, you cannot do one day, no need la. Just do seva. And when you sing bhajan, devotees are happy. When you spread his glory, if it helps people, again, that is also seva. Seva per se doesn't mean only a physical, a cornered approach to a particular temple or trust or anywhere. It is our approach to help others, no matter what. Natapamski, again, I remember this, which I recite daily, Durga part, where Shama Pratna in that. Namantran no yantran tad vijane suti maho. I don't know mantras, I don't know tantra, I don't know nothing, but I know one thing. To go madly after you and keep following you and following you. Kalas. Nothing else. What Ramakrishna Paramahansa ji had. Did he had any literal achievements? Was he a scholar? Was he an academician? Nothing. But he knew that I will follow only and only Ma Kali. Ho gaya. He got that. So it's so powerful to understand, to be absolutely obsessed by God and His love. Then rest, everything follows. And that is why seva, you see, we used to have dormitory seva and all, but yesterday there was temple cleaning seva. We came, those who can do what. Brother Satya is there, Brother Shri is there. All of them were part of the dormitory seva team. And dormitory seva closed in COVID, right? Because of health concerns or whatever, the government decision not allowed and all. But seva didn't stop, right? Seva still continues. When people come to organize the SSC classes, imagine from morning, 4 hours, buses, arranging. Is this not a seva? This is also a seva. We are coming for 1.5 hours. Brothers are coming for 3 hours. 4 hours. It is seva. So seva does not restrict only to feeding to poor. Seva is anything that you do out of love for the master. Correct? My Swami will be, Mera Sai Prasanna Hoga. Dina Dukhiyon se prem karo. Who is not a Dina Dukhi? Tell me in this world. Everybody is a Dina Dukhi. Adani is supposed to be already number 3. Now he's gone there. He's also Dina Dukhi now. So at times we tend, now we got the, what is the annual appraisal bonus letter and something last week. We had a sine curve in the office, right? Peaks, and you could see the troughs and the peaks and troughs.
Normalization curve.
See, what Swami has taught us is, you go and say what you deserve, what you talk, but don't get affected, because bonus is not your right. Your right is your salary, which is documented. Bonus is something company feels, it is like khairat. They feel happy, somebody has been too pally with them, they'll give more. This drama goes on. So I'm very clear. But, the letter came somewhere at 10:30 or 11 in the morning. Thursday, right? Thursday bhajans. Ek khola kya letter, electronic. Everybody is immediately at dumb. I mean, what I have been following, I offer him. That is Thursday. Even otherwise, I'll go back home, light candle prayer and all. And people say, you know what? They say, by doing this, it will not change. Inside the same. I say, how do you know? Have you seen before what it was? I don't know. For me, it is changed because it offered it prasadam now. So I can't crib about it. So it's an important approach in life to remain unaffected. Bhakti is not to be calculated on the basis of institutions one has started or helped. Again, see how beautifully he's defining it. A lot of us take glory in what we do and magnify it and press it and data projection, and this one dot becomes a circle and circle becomes, I don't know, circumference, I don't know. And Swami says it does not depend on institutions, the temples one has built, the donations one has given away, nor does it depend on the number of times one has written the name of the Lord. Again, when we were talking about seva, very important was, see, a lot of people do seva. Even in office, you are doing seva. Why? Because you are doing something right for the company. Something. But what is the intention of the seva decides whether it is a service or it is a seva. Correct? If the motive is, my Lord will be happy, it becomes a seva. Nishkam karma. Right? So happy. But if the motive is that I will get something out of it, or he'll be happy, or they will be happy, then definitely it's a worldly seva. But it doesn't qualify in his registers. Now he says it doesn't depend on how many times name of the Lord or time, energy one has spent in the workshop of the Lord. These are not vital at all. Can anybody define it more clearer? It is not vital, not even secondary. Are, ye to khalas ho gaya. Not even secondary. How many of us are in tertiary classes? Forget secondary. Bhakti is prema, unsullied by a tinge of desire for benefit that flows from it or the fruit or consequence of that love. It's such an important message. Unsullied love for the Lord. Mera Sai Prasanna Hoga. That's it. It becomes bhakti, it becomes offering, it becomes service. There's no further thing that we must look into. Our objective should be how Bhagwan is happy and choose the way. It's like a buffet system Lord Rama gave to Sabri. 9 forms of use. You have got 9 dishes laid out, right? Pick up what you feel happy about. Not everybody will be doing every form of devotion. Correct? Atmanivedanam, that is why they are put last, you see. Even Lord Rama knew when the Kali Yuga is coming. Even Dwapar, not many. Atmanivedan, forget it. So he gave Archanam, chalo bhai, phool chada do. Ye kirtanam, chalo bhajan kar lo. Some appetite, something will choose and fall in our lines, Vandanam, Archanam, Sakhyam. Somebody wants to be friendly. Smaranam, Shravanam, Atmanivedanam, Dasyam. So any form of devotion we like, because everybody's fiber is different. Like Joga Rauji, he said, I cannot sit down and do mantras and Veda chanting. So, give me work, I'll do it. So for him, it is Pada Sevanam, to go and do Seva. Dasyam is one of the Ramakrishna Paramahansa 2 disciples. One was Vivekananda, other was Nagamasya. Vivekananda, his consciousness expanded so much. He was a very different disciple who could not contain it. The other one, Nagamasya, was somebody who was surrendering. He became very small in front of the Lord. I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing. So that's another form of devotion. So while Vivekananda did from the jnana, from consciousness part, this guy did from surrender part. Both were acceptable. So it depends on how we want to look at it. There is a whole list of things that can suit our appetite and must do it. But remember, when bhakti enters the food, it becomes prasadam. When bhakti enters hunger, the same hunger becomes fast. Not when we are hungry because we cannot see a one-stop shop as we are going the highway. That is not fasting. Fasting is when you dedicate your mind, body, and senses, everything for the Lord, and take your attention off the senses. So when bhakti enters hunger, it becomes fast. When bhakti enters water, it becomes charanamrit. The same, what you offer to Bhagavan. When bhakti enters travel, it becomes pilgrimage. When you're traveling to Parthi, 100% you're focused there, it becomes a pilgrimage. I remember when I was traveling, when Swami left his body in 2011, it was a very different pilgrimage, of course. And it was a very different focus. But all the while you were just floating, like body was going like this, but you were totally in that. It becomes a pilgrimage. When bhakti enters music, it becomes kirtanam. When bhakti enters house, it becomes a temple. Correct? And house, to become a temple, it needs a devotion. Bhagwan rahi nahi sakte bina bhakti ke. When bhakti enters action, it becomes service, that means seva. And when bhakti truly enters human, a human becomes God. So it's an important journey to understand whether we are drinking water or charnam. It depends on what kind of offering we have done. Whether we are living in that spirit. There is a potential in every act to make it spiritual from a ritual. And that we must realize what has been simplified by Bhagavan in these many days. How do we transit to be a devotee and not just a worshipper? Now, since it has been made very clear, when Bhagavan says Ravana was a great worshipper and Hanuman was a great devotee, so he has categorized that where do we want to transit? I mean, he has given, he was full of jnana and all, Ravana, we all know that. But to get that essence, the feet of the Lord, we have to transit. And how do we do that? He says, remember that great scriptures for different religions, Bhagavad Gita, Bible, the Quran, and the Guru Granth Sahib have not been given for ritualistic reading. And then, mouthing it out like a parrot, verbal gymnastics and pyrotechnics you release just because we have learned a few slokas. He knows. They are intended to serve as guides. Of what avail is mere recitation of slokas or writing learned articles? There are persons who recite Gita every day. देखिए भगवान कितना हम लोग के लिए आसान कर दिया. He has simplified for us not to feel bad we don't know Gita slokas, not to feel bad we don't know this. He said, Bhava hai kya? Can this be called a devotion, one who recites 7? No, unless the teachings are put into practice, it is of no use. When you go to a restaurant, you look at the menu and look at the menu and look at the menu, does it satisfy? Nothing. It satisfies nothing. You got to eat it, right? So if we read and read and read and we don't eat it and digest it, there's no point. That's what Swami says. It's not enough to be human in the form, you have to be human in the conduct. And humility is the mark of a human, right? Human. Remember, the world will benefit only from those who behaved like human beings, like being human, not on the t-shirt type being human, but actually being human, correct? And then the next note, how we can, transit from a ritual to spiritual and how we can do it. And then he says 3 ways where all starts with Shravanam, what we are doing now, what we do when we go back home. Shravanam is a very important part. Parikshit got moksha out of Shravanam, just by listening. The whole, Mahabharata, everything, Vedas, is Shravanam. Because God's word was heard and it was written down by Rishi Vedavyasa. So Shravanam has got that potency, right? But does it end there? Should it end there? It should go to the next step of Mananam, which is contemplation, just thinking, churning, thinking about it. Mananam. And not only Mananam, then comes Nidhi Dhyasanam, that is putting into practice. 9 forms of devotion we saw. Just pick up one. Love all, serve all. Just pick up, serve all. Help ever, hurt never. Help ever. How do we help? It's not physically. Don't think bad about anyone. Don't hurt anyone here. There was one student, Indreshwar Rao. I was listening to his. One fine morning, he was sitting there in the veranda, and there was something going on in his mind, whatever. Swami was in the interview room. Swami came out suddenly, said, "Stop it now, stop it." And this guy is sitting there, right? Swami said, "Stop it now, you'll kill him." And then suddenly he started crying because Swami read his mind what he was doing. Swami, what had happened was there was some family property dispute, and his, I think, driver or some attendant to his father. So he had influenced them and got signed some bill and taken over. And this guy was, when he came to know recently, I think a couple of days back or whatever, he was thrashing him in the thoughts. And Swami came out, "You will kill him." So he reads everything, he knows everything. So an important part is we are sitting there also when we are thinking about it, it's no use. So Nidhi Dhyashanam is something that we have to practice.
But
Whatever
when you
we
are
do.
very, sorry brother to interrupt, that when you are very close in the proximity, your thoughts other way around are more actually comes out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really difficult to control. That's why it is said that you have the lamp there and around is darkness. So,
Yeah.
but the light is beyond that. So it's very difficult to comprehend also. And Swami says, all the wicked ones are with me, otherwise it has released God.
To the society
So-
they will be creating.
So we don't know how to interpret it and how much you absorb and then
True.
take it up. So it's very tough. In fact, today I just shared with all of us in that Sunday Satsang. Professor Kasturi here was almost 1 hour, 20 minutes. I was on the way, almost an hour it takes for me to come. So listening to him so wonderfully, only one poem of Swami he was explaining to the devotees from Australia somewhere. So he was talking to, I think, the devotees. It must be a 40-year-old video or clipping.
Okay.
It's great always to listen to that, such a nice language that he puts in and makes it interesting. So wherein he is talking about all that Swami, whatever he has come. The Avataric mission, I think, the advent of Avatar or Avataric mission was the small video, 1 hour 20 minutes. A lot of points that we are discussing are also covered.
Okay. You see, last Sunday we had this session, right? It was 19th March, correct? And last Sunday, brother posts thought for the day. Have you read the thought for the day? When I went back home, it was so pertinent.
Same day?
Yeah. Swami says, bring 1,000,000 flowers and do puja with them. All will be rejected. None accepted. Bring a single lotus to your heart, which is fresh. Satya Sai will accept this and grant you both love and peace. So what was going on in our few weeks of talk and sessions? This is where it is. Offer your virtues as flowers, virtues that spread beauty and fragrance. Offer the lotus of your heart, freed from pest of lust, anger, and greed and hate. Remove from your mind all traces of desire to harm others by thought, word, and deed. Right? So cleanse your word, thought, and deed, and act as a man on the march towards the divine destiny. All right. So we still have some time. So how many of us actually face this challenge, and at what stage do we face it? Shravanam, I'm sure, is not a challenge because we have now all the gadgets to tell us what's going on. But the point is, when the Shravanam is on, are we hearing or we are listening? There is a difference. If we are hearing, there's no point because nothing goes in. If we are listening, means we are only sitting there for that. Only, then it makes a difference. What happens after that? Are we getting into this mananam mode or not? Well, it's an important self-churning question we must ask.
Yeah, brother, see, mananam is very difficult actually. Why? Because you are bombarded with so many stones falling into the lake in terms of the thoughts. So every other minute you are not, though your intention and purpose is there to have good thoughts, but you are jumping from one to the other. You are physically present right in front of the Swami's Samadhi or whatever, you go to Patti, with all the great difficulties. But the moment you enter there also, still your mind is the monkey mind. So, but keeping that steadfastness is what is the difficulty. So, for which you need the whole abhyasa, the training that's required.
Abhyasa
and that's why the Swami's picture, wherever we are just turned towards it and keep remembering.
But how do we make it easier? That is important, right? Bhagavan has given us a guidepost, right? Do this. A very simple, most simplified. How do we make Mananam easier for us? And Nidhi Dhyasanam, of course, to put in practice will take some time but Mananam is something we have to, because if we want something to go in the system, it has to be injected, and that is Mananam. What I feel is, it's like if we have a salt solution, we want to make it sweet. We put so much of sugar, then the salt gets dissolved. Then you have sweetness, right? So we have to bring in that divine essence, that remembrance, that love for Swami, whatever we hold so precious, so overwhelming that automatically it becomes a part of our second nature, that anything which is due to satsang, we'll listen, we'll churn it out carefully. Because till we do this part, Nidhi Dhyasam, which is an important part, where actually, it's like your exams, school exams, you have theory and you have practical. First you read, first you hear from the teachers, it is Shravanam. Then you read, you Mananam. And then you actually go and give theory exams and you have a practical. So you have to demonstrate now what you have learned. Without practical, you don't pass. So how can we pass? In Gita also, all the three, Karma Kanda was there, right? Basically, practical was there. It's not only Jnana Yoga and then Bhakti Yoga, right? It became a bridge between the two. So this is a very powerful thing which we tend to sometimes
Swami
undermine this.
This one has put all three to us. Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. I think he has introduced all the devotees as per the current time. That's what Kasturigar also says, that he has come with that particular mission purpose as per the time, needs of the time. There's selfless service in terms of the hospitals, education and water. So that is our service part. So Bhakti is Bhakti, bhajans, and then Jnana also. How many literature, Swami's literature, if you see the Vadinis that he had written, and Sanatan's the articles that he had written for over the years, decades. So the Jnana is also there, that part. So he has given all the three markers.
So we are all familiar with the computer system. So computer system is fundamentally built on basis of human beings. Right? So the computer system got three fundamental, like input unit, process unit, output unit. That is how any machinery computer functionality is primarily designed. That is a very, very basic, which is compiled and created, translated from human anatomy. We got our input systems. What are our input systems? Eyes we see, here travel, we hear, and food we take, primary input systems. Right. So these input systems, Swami told about vegetarians, all this something. Keep that away. Time. I come to this point. Shravana, we are getting a lot of input, hearing and seeing also, primarily. And our power unit is once it falls, we finish. Okay, when power is off. So this input, what we are getting, we have multiple input unit, primarily. Ears, 2 ears, human anatomy is, 2 eyes, human anatomy is. What one processing unit, which is our brain. Whatever we hear, see, touch, feels, all kind of our Panchendriya takes in, is being processed in one place. It is completely messed with so many things, thoughts. And we are talking about what is mind, what is buddhi, all talks. But the brain, mananam, so the input we are getting is either Shravanam or Darsanam, whatever we are getting input. So the mananam is happening at one place, where there are certain logical conditions to be applied, brain to process. These conditions are being taught by Swami or whatever we learned as per our character. Now comes the output unit. We can give service using our hands, 2 hands, right? And we can do service with our legs, 2 legs extra. And we can do our service even with your mouth, because mouth got multiple by-way function. It will take input as well as output. And here, the important thing is that tongue. Tongue can speak only. I mean, food is taken at that time, that's simple. But when we speak, whatever satsang, whatever we tongue can speak and give the mic, it's a speaker and gives sounds out. And at the same time, remember where the tongue is placed. Tongue is placed behind the grill of 32 teeth. So, you should be very careful about that piece. That's the message he is giving the anatomy, human anatomy.
Yeah.
Means you should not let him free. It is a double-edged sword. If you hit someone or break someone, you can heal it. But if you hit someone or break someone or hurt someone using your tongue, that will never heal during his life. That will completely spoil relationships. And completely, sometimes one word is good enough. See, now you can see in India what is going on. Because of one word, big mess is going on. Simply one word. That creates big. So this one word is coming from the tongue. It has been grilled behind 32 teeth. So this is how the human anatomy is structured by Lord when it was we all created, but we don't know that some many times. But those who knows, he knows. So they are making different ways to simplify it and follow it. As simple as that. So Swami give us very simple thing. Shravana is input. Take that one input, Shravana. And Manana, you process it. Whatever from here, Swami is teaching or whatever, attending, budget, whatever, you just process it. That's Manana. And then do the output. After you process, you decide what you are going to do. Simply do the service. That is it. So this is very simplified in that way. Swami is making very huge philosophy, technology, anatomy in a very, very simple way anybody can understand. That is what is simplicity.
Yeah. But even if suppose we fail to do Shravanam or Mananam, at times, just go and serve. Bhagavan said service, 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 without agenda. Enough to earn you the grace, because if you're able to do right, the bottom one with full love for Bhagavan, and for Bhakti, Karma and Jnana, Bhagavan, somebody asked Swami, which one to follow? If I do this, I cannot do this, Bhagavan created a Mysore Pak and said, you see, this is Mysore Pak. It has got form, it has got shape, it has got taste, weight and taste. So when you eat the Mysore Pak, form, taste, weight, all three are taken, right? So you can't say that if I can do Karma Yoga, I cannot do Bhakti Yoga, or if I do Bhakti Yoga, I cannot do Jnana Yoga. They all go simultaneously. It's how you apply with this, any of the activities, you will get that. So all the three we are doing in the day, you can yourself measure it, Yogi, Bhogi and Bhogi. When we are in the morning, we are doing a lot of this, Jnana Yoga, we are praying, Bhakti Yoga. Night time we read literature, Jnana. Daytime we do service, become Karma Yoga. So we can't say that, okay, I go to the center only to do this seva, or I only sing bhajan. If you sing bhajan for singing, no, think you're also serving by giving solace to so many devotees who are coming. It becomes a seva. The same bhakti mark becomes your, seva mark, karma mark. Correct? And if that bhakti, when you're singing, you visualize the line, understand the meaning, because Brother Amit Deshpande and all team were here in 2015, and they said, when you visualize the bhajan, Prema Mudita Manase Kaho Ram Ram Ram. When you visualize that, it becomes Jnana Yoga, because you're connecting them. So all the three gets manifested. So he made it very simple by the example, creating a Mysore Pak. Right? So, good.
At this point, we also need to Gopikas. Swami always has emphasized on
Gopikas.
Not on Gopikas, yes.
It is there in the few slides. No, but please share.
So see, invariably, whenever he has given discourses to exclusively to students in the hostels, because I was a very close writer of Swami used to be discussed with Telugu, so I used to write in Telugu also all his points, jot down and make a diary like that. So, of course, all of that, most of it has now been compiled and put into print. So Swami emphasized all these Navavidhi Bhakti Margas and Jnana Marga, Karma. So he has simplified that to the real devotion of the Gopikas. So it's like it's simple logic. You take a book, okay. So can you separate ever the picture with the page? The picture and the page are imprinted. The same way the Gopikas, whatever action they were doing through the day and their entire life, they have always had that Lord Krishna at the
Center.
the heart center, and it was never deviated. That's why whatever they touched, whatever they spoke, everything became like
True.
his stuff, his
Inseparable.
So they were experiencing him every second. So,
True.
so I think Uddhava goes and all the
Yeah.
stories. So therefore, Swami reflected this. That they are the true role models forever, time immemorial to come. Like so, and
True.
therefore, that kind of devotion, that kind of inseparable is what he was talking
Yeah.
about. The devotion.
And Swami told this particular section, I'll try to find out, where he says, when Radha was in a dilapidated state, she was alone, right? And Krishna was in Dwarika. So he was not eating nothing. And Krishna got to know about it. So Lord Krishna goes there at the Yamuna Tat, and he finds, even with his anklets or the sound, there's no reaction on Radha. She's not turning around. Radha is engrossed in the sand and Yamuna and nature. And Krishna says, Radha, I have already come. Won't you look back? She said, when did you go, Krishna? Bhagavan says so beautiful. When did you go, Krishna? Ye patto ko dekho. Look at these leaves. Look at every gun of sand. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. I don't see you ever bent. And Swami says that was the time when Krishna kneeled down, threw his bansuri and never played the flute again. He surrendered to his devotee and said, you are the epitome of devotion and surrender. Inseparability, what you are saying. It's not about the gross form that we look. Correct? Swami's physical form is gone.
That reminds me of the great devotees like Tukaram,
Yeah.
even you take, they're all born thousands of years of Lord Krishna.
Yes.
Krishna Chaitanya. So, but I feel looking at that form in the form of an idol,
Oh, yes.
shape, even once,
Yeah.
they have Tanmaya, it's called, like they have become one with it. But we are so lucky to see him in physical form. But still, I feel that
Yeah.
that intensity.
True.
And this one still.
They needed the form to a state till they went beyond form. You know, from form to formless.
Yes, yes.
So we are still in the form, of course. We'll take some time. That is why they are Tukaram and
Yes.
we are Ram Ram. It will take some more time to reach there. But it's important to understand idol is important to reach ideal. And that is why you see when this Durga statue or Ganesha statue or when Ganesh Chaturthi, they make this statue, do all the prayers, and finally they put it into the ocean. Why? It is to give us a message. The form we studied was kindergarten. Now, form to formlessness, when the form dissolves, there is something we have to achieve and head towards. It's not to get stuck on the idol. All right. Okay, we'll end with Samasta Loka and then we catch up again. I think there's still some remaining. We'll do it next time. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om शांति शांति शांति. जय बोलिए भगवान श्री सत्य साईं बाबा जी की जय. Sai Ram, brothers and sisters. Have a great week ahead and a lovely Sunday, blessed Sunday. We'll catch up again next time, possibly with the same topic with some more remaining. And I think it's giving us a lot of kick, so we should stick on with this to understand how to become his Bangaru, how to become a real devotee. Sai Ram. Sai. Sai.
Saram, thank you.
Kalam pangum langhite girim yat kripa tamaham bande parman madhavam. Oh Swami, please think to me feel through me, speak through me, act through me, behave through me, conduct through me. Sairam. Sairam, Sairam, brothers and sisters, Sairam. Let me just check one thing whether. Okay, recording is running. So we are back into Sunday Satsang, and once again to establish again the links that we might have broken and severed. Brother was on a different link because this is what we have to do as a society. You have to be the best employee, you have to be the best father or best. Now he has a demand of the job. Sometimes we get into emergencies. So we have to balance and do everything. So what satsang brings about is equanimity, equipoise in understanding life. You can't segregate and say what we do for a school or a college or a company is not Swami's work. And that is such an important understanding we have to bring. When Swami created the pen for Professor Venkatraman, and he said, because this was in the interview room, and then Venkatramanji kept the pen. And he used to go around, then he kept the pen in his room, whatever way. In the colleges, he used to carry his own pen, the worldly pen, so-called, and he used to use that. So in another interview, when Swami said, so how is everything? Are you using the pen? Yes, Swami, I use the pen only when I do Swami's work, you know, like Radio Sai or whatever. Then Swami said, is you're going to college and doing your job there not Swami's work? If you think like this, even in 1,000 janmas, you'll never get liberation. How can you differentiate? So it's so important. With that anecdote, what we heard is so important. How we can connect everything, even disappointments as is. I was writing to one of the doctors, you know, there's a very good homeopathy doctor we came to know in India. His name is Dr. Jagat Pal. And he has done wonderful cures by homeopathy to my dad, which allopathy, my brother is a doctor, right? He's treating. He says there's no further, nothing. That guy, some God gift is there. He managed to do. Hearing loss now, my father was saying, I don't need the aids anymore. And just after 3 doses, he does some research, he does some meditation, and then he prescribes. So I was telling him, I thanked him, I said, it's a long problem that he has solved because he was not able to focus because of this ear pain and, you know, constant sound. He says, I have done nothing. He's the one who gives problem, he's the one he gives solution. And we have to accept both. He wrote to me. You see, what a beautiful thing, the awareness that he lives in. He knows there is something else which is guiding him to prescribe the medicine. And this guy is very good, very good. So it's an equipoise, and we must understand all our efforts to dive within is waste if we are still in the boundaries, creating boundaries between different realms and spheres of life. And that's what satsang tries to do. Somebody asked Bhagwan, what is study circle? But Swami said a study circle does not mean just reading, discussing, taking information into the head, but putting it to practice. Right? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasam. We had that. If knowledge is stored in the mind, it causes confusion. And then confusion leads to blowing of the fuse. I was listening to one talk today, Tribhuvan Sasdev, brother, you know, right? He's Swami's student and ex-state president Madhya Pradesh son. And they have made a new hospital for the children, heart and all. Yeah. And he's a trustee member. Now, I think he has been made in charge of All India Vidya Vahini project.
Even school also.
Huh? Yeah. Vidya Vihar school, that is #1 school. You know, MPs, MLAs, ministers, they lined up, no favors, nothing. It's a huge waiting queue to get into that school. Satsang Vidya Vihar, Indore. And that chalk, crossroad, is called Satsai Choraha. You know, the whole area is Satyasai. So it's so beautiful. I was listening to one of his talks, and I mean, this is sidetracking, but very important for all of us because we all get tormented by thoughts which misleads, misguides. It's very provocative. It's negative. You see something, you talk something, and we are all hammered. And then we need our spiritual potential to bring us back, right? So he asked Swami in the interview room, Swami was saying, and he's saying, Swami, mera man bahut bhatakta hai. He was telling in Hindi, my mind is keeping running away into negative things. I think so negative. I want to control this. I'm not able to control this. And I'm really tormented. Swami, can you please help me with that? Swami said, yeah, but that's okay. That's normal. Getting thoughts in this stage and age of life is okay. You're getting that. Then Swami, how do we proceed and all? Then Swami gave a beautiful thing. I think it will affect all. It has definitely been very touching me. What Swami says is, let the thoughts come. Your job is to make sure it is not translated into action. Let it ripple around, then it will die off. It gets more potential the moment you activate and action the thoughts. So a lot of time we say we are not able to control thoughts, we are sitting in meditation and all. For those who are limping in that area, who are not able to clear and clean the thoughts, Swami gave a beautiful thing that it's fine you get it in this age of life or any stage which it hammers you, but don't let it translate into an action. Correct? So that's what we should be aspiring to, and then keep a watchdog, which is buddhi, to see, oh, ye thought aaya, did I translate? No, victory. Okay. And that is where the self-determination comes in. So it was a very important thing which he spoke. Anyway, coming back to what Swami said in study circle, what is eaten should be digested in the same way. When you listen, put into practice what you have learned. Again, you have another round of listening. Now what are you doing is only loading and unloading. How much can you sustain? You should go on loading and unloading, listening and practicing. So basically coming again back to practicing of that. And satsang is an invitation to step into the fire of self-discovery, correct? Because the whole objective, like we say, Bhagwan says, is to reignite the divinity within, to realize the divinity within. All extras is being done just to, you perform, you go to different fields, an athlete practices, everything is to perform that one race. So whatever we are doing is just to realize, and it is satsang is not a fire that burns you, it burns what we are not. It helps us to understand what we are not, correct? And then it helps us to come back into the equilibrium. So, and then, he's waiting, he's given a call, and we are trying to tune in each time when we come together here or when we do individually sit down and either meditate or you get read manuals, books of Swami or discourses or any master. It helps us to come back. So we were here in Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasan, right? That was the topic we had ended with last time. With the ongoing topic of what is Swami's liking, what does God want as a devotee, whether he wants Arpan or Samarpan. So let's move on with this. Okay. Yeah, so this is the journey we have taken in from Koham to Soham. That is initial journey of we are human beings trying to have a spiritual experience to understand the realization. We are spiritual beings who have come down to have a human experience. That's why Bhagwan said Divyatma Swarupalara. And that's why, I was listening to another one, Vinay Kumarji, he's Swami is one of the chosen ambassadors of love. And he apparently went to Travancore. Tiruvannamalai. There's some place in Arunachal, right? And that's where when he went, he met a sadhu. So sadhu just beckoned him. He was sharing this. And then and all, he said Puttaparthi. And then he said, okay, have a look here. So the Arunachal mountain was there and sadhu was sitting down, right? So he was putting his hands and the flame appeared. And then he will remove and flame disappears. So Vinay Kumar is thinking he's doing some kind of a, some siddhi or some power. He wanted to steer clear, but he said, no. What is this light? This is Satya Sai Baba. You don't need to go anywhere. You have found the God. And that's what he communicated. And then when he comes back to Ramesh or Vrindavan, that day one of the priests visited from Kashi Vishwanath. That's another thing he said. And priest said, dhyan karna hai and then I will go. Now, it was around ending time after the bhajan. So that the head priest, he sat down for meditation in front of Swami's, the stage, the altar. So now they are waiting. So they started clearing because now the bhajans have ended. Now we clear and close the hall. 45 minutes, 1 hour. And what he's saying is we are waiting now to close down. And this man is so lost in that, in the meditation, in the trance. So when he comes to his senses, pranams, and then he says, Aap Kashi Vishwanath gaye? Have you been to Kashi Vishwanath? And Brother Vinay says, no, I haven't. Aane ki zarurat nahi. He says, you don't need to come to Kashi Vishwanath. Yahi hai Kashi. This is what it is. I was lost. What bliss I used to get during Abhishekam and Shivaratri. I was getting here, sitting here. You don't need to go anywhere. And here we are, Bhagavan gave us all the time to be in the present of the divine proximity. And we didn't realize that we were playing like toys with him, not realizing this is actually gold that we have in our hand. Right? So it's an important journey that we have to understand. We are divine beings having human experience, and to transit from Deha Bhiman to Atma Bhiman. That is again, it's very difficult actually. You know, it's a different topic in itself because we are lost in so many things happening around us and through the senses. The problem is we perceive the world and the reality through senses, which is again a complete dreamland. It is not something which is beyond this world. So we have to learn to come back into this and understand the divine voice within is the main charioteer who should guard and guide us as we move along. Okay. So let's look at this acceptance level. Now, when we have come into this world, most of the times, our my will, what I do, what happens is because of me, that meter is very high. That grading is very high. His will only comes when you are really in dire state. He said, "Kya kar diya Bhagwan?" Only when we are in the doomed, when we are in dire state, we say, "Kya kar diya aapne?" When you are in the best of the times, we don't realize that is also His will. So initially, when we start, our my will intensity is very high. His will, we don't consider. My work, His work. You know, we divide so much. Then as we get into bhajan study circle, the Shravanam, we start doing it. Slowly, we start understanding that the quantum of His will is predominant. And now then...
I really tell you, I just want to share with you all. When
Yeah.
I went as a 15-year-old lad to Puttavarthi, we were, I'm not from a family of Swami's devotees, or I mean, even only once my dad visited Puttavarthi.
Okay.
So when I used to be in the hostel, I was so uncomfortable to hear everything. It is Swami, 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 everywhere. But you see, the issue is he had come to, make us, draw to him in so many different ways, and then get the reality even in front of you as a crystal clear thing.
Correct.
And then obviously later on, by the time I leave the institute, it is but the opposite. So,
Correct.
I mean, from within, I would confidently can say that because I think one more point as we were discussing, I was getting
Yes.
in my mind was, he has come to clear that hunger that I think all of us are here for the fact that we are on the journey to find who we are.
Yes.
We are mine, I would say. So that single thing that why am I here on earth is what drives us to find that ways and means, and He draws and then He fulfills for that sole purpose He had come.
Mm-hmm.
But to hang on to it and hook on to it and continue the life is the trick.
World and body, He gave us a medium to reach there.
Yes.
And what we have made it, this is the sole purpose.
Yes.
We have just, changed it. True.
His will is another thing that not so easily accepted. So the issue is even in Swami many times, I think you have discussed also earlier what's called freedom.
Yes.
So everybody thinks of that sitting right under his nose also. In hostel, we used to have discussions about those things. So
Yeah.
So that it's not easy to accept that everything is His will.
His
and
will.
it's happening. We can say, but to experience it and grab onto it is difficult.
True. That's what I was sharing you about the doctor. No, he says, "Sab unhi ka diya hua hai." If you come to that awareness, it doesn't bother. It doesn't shake you. Why? Because I know today is sunset. Tomorrow you will give me sunrise. That's an awareness. So then we start working on ourselves, and acceptance means you accept everything the right stride. Then now you see the balance of His will, my will starts changing, but still it is not fully accepted. We are still choosy about when we think it is my will. Because a lot of times you do work on a daily basis, you don't realize and say, okay, sab aapki kripa hai.
Correct.
And the only way we can do that is by offering the actions. In the morning we say, when we sit out of the office, Swami, please think through me, feel through me, act through me, behave. And then we Samarpan. Okay, we have Arpan, we have given you this, now you take over. So Mananam helps us to again churn the same thing and get into that. And finally, Finally, when we are in a state, if it is a failure, it is His will. If it is success, it is His will. If it is a pain or sorrow, it is His will. And if it is happiness or joy, it is still His will. And that is Nidhi Dhyasanam. That is when we have all the activities dedicated to Him. It's not an easy state in the sense that we are working with a lot of predominant ego and association with the body. But it's not something which is impossible for the great devotees like Professor Kasturi and all those who have shown us, Sister Geeta Mohan Ram, when they talk about the examples, they're definitely living in an awareness where everything is happening as per His will. Nothing is happening as per my will. And that is a stage, when you come to the last stage, when everything you dedicate and say it is His will, that is Samarpan. Before, till that was Arpan. We're trying to offer and say it very selectively. But now is Samarpan. What King Bali did was Samarpan. Offered everything. When nothing remained, that was a thing, ego. He offered himself. And that's why he got what he got. So this is an important part for us to understand. And coming back to very important, how do we measure that we are in that state? Again, this triangle helps us. What we brooded so many times is it starts with taking an interest, putting self-effort to visit center, to visit bhajan, to see his videos, to see his discourses. From that effort builds up the faith, and then faith leads to a understanding bigger picture, why it is happening in my life. We start accepting it. Okay, it is happening, good or bad, is because of His will working through me. And then finally that surrender comes in. And it is important for us to understand that till we reach that state of Samarpan, Dvandva will exist. You know, good and bad, success and failure, happiness and sorrow, these things will keep existing till we come to a state of mind, of surrender, where nothing matters.
So, the previous slide, I didn't get what are these?
Oh, no. So this is like an acceptance meter, a resemblance for a journey that we traverse. Initially, we think we are the one who's doing everything. So my will is more predominant than His will. Sankalpa, working through it. And then as we start working, just a progression it is showing. As we start working, the quantum of His will starts getting more dominating. And my will, the feeling that I am doing it, starts receding.
So what is the two hands, the small hand and big hand? Say, take the first one.
It's basically a status of your belief, your being, that jo bhi hamare, whatever is happening in my life, is it happening because of Him, His will, because of acceptance, or it is because of mine? No, it's not a clock.
This is not like a clock. Okay. There are 4 sections background you can see, right? Minimal, low, moderate, and high. Just first one. Take the first picture. Okay. There are 4 sections. That is just a rating.
It's a rating.
It's a rating. Okay. And what is there in the 2 needles? What is His will?
My will.
Okay. The long one is, big one is my will. Right? Not in the sense of clock. Right? So, initially, His will is minimal in the gradient. Okay. My will is intense. I have my will predominant to the His will.
The quantum.
Right?
Now I saw that my return at the top of it.
Yeah.
Because looking at the clock tower,
No, it's not clock. Right. Now, second one is, my will is from minimal, it is still low. Right? But
No, my will from intense started coming down.
Intense right to it will reduce.
And His will has increased.
His will has increased from minimal to moderate.
and your surrender keeps increasing.
As you surrender, your bhakti, your devotion.
His will take over my will.
Yeah.
Then it will dominate further.
But still it has not gone in this stage. Then finally when we come to this state of surrender, there is a time where my will symptom gone and His will. And that's the awareness. Sorry if I could not get into that. Okay, so we spoke about this. Let's go to the next one. Chapter 12, verse 16 in Bhagavad Gita. I may not be able to pronounce very clearly.
I'll read, brother.
Yes.
Anapeksha suchit dakshaha udasino gatavya vishaha
Sarvaramba parityagi
sarvaramba parityagi
yo madabhakta same priyaha.
who is dear to him is what is being
So
explained.
it was important because we are discussing what God likes in a devotee. So this was one of the very relevant slokas, and it was narrated by Swami in this October, I think, 1995 World Conference. And Swami said, that devotee of mine who expecting nothing is pure, dexterous, unconcerned, free from distress, he renounces all undertakings dear to me. He posed through this sloka, he said, then he elaborated, there are 4 qualities he's looking for. The first quality is when all actions are done as an offering to God by any individual. That anapeksha sthiti, where you come into desirelessness. Apeksha is desire, anapeksha is desirelessness. Such a devotee is dear to Lord who renders service to anyone, anywhere as an offering. Sarva karma bhagavad prityartha. Then he gave the next one, second quality is suchi, purity. We were talking about purity of chitta shuddhi. Every sphere of our action in a day-to-day life, whether we are drinking water, is that pure? Whether eating food, is that pure? So purity in every sphere. Now he talks about is suchi, which is purity. There should be both inner and outer purity. Outer means body, temples, we have to keep it clean. Then inner is senses, the mind, the chitta, the feelings, the bhava which emanate. Everything has to be pure. For a man, his heart is the vessel and he must see that it's kept pure. So the purification of heart, now you see how easily he gives this Satya, Seva pillars. He says, don't worry into doing asanas or yogas, selfless service. And that is why Seva is such a big solvent in this world. Nishkam Seva, do to anyone you come across. Never mind who it is, no distinction. And then third quality said of a devotee is daksha, means skillful. Correct? Marma, karma, brahma. That means not only, suppose you are serving laddu, you are distributing. The moment you serve the laddu to a diabetic man, you have not done a seva, right? You should also have discrimination in seva. Like there was a lady who was standing there near the traffic light, a blind lady, and one of the disciples, a young guy with a dhoti, took her. Why? Before she's murmuring, "Hey, where are you taking?" He crossed her. So where have you brought her? I brought you across the road because you're blind, you cannot see. And she scolded and abused you. Why did you do this? I did not want to cross. I was just standing there. No, my guru had said today about seva. So I had to checklist, do one seva today. So I've done that. No marma. We have to have discrimination when we do seva. Correct? That's also important. And we have to be skillful. Daksha is skillful. And last but not least, what Swami says is most important what we discuss. The fourth quality is udasin bhava. It's extremely important, brothers and sisters. A pure devotee is one who possesses the quality of udasin. That means you are equipoise, you're balanced in the extremes. The other, and one should get rid of the idea of doership, ownership, surrender everything to God. Krishna has declared in Gita that such a devotee is dear to me. He is indifferent to pain or pleasure. Now, yeah.
Expectation.
Which one?
Affection.
It is only affection, affection.
Sorry.
And Udasin is actually being in like a state where you are.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Outside doesn't matter.
It's simple.
Flame, cool, praise, blame.
Steadiness.
Actually, you see, this is such an important thing. In the office, sometimes you get provoked. At home, definitely you are helpless even if you are provoked. But what I'm saying is, that's the time you must measure and gauge yourself, how you responded. Did you get provoked? No matter what. And this Swami's teaching is not for a Sunday study circle that we sit down and become saints for 1 hour. It is something that we must practice in our workplaces. Correct? And that is important. Because in Science Center, everybody is pious, right? We all come very nice, Sairam. When we go into the society, where we behave, where we conduct, that is how we behave is important. That is where we are ambassadors of Sai. Or for that matter, anyone that we believe in. And so, Udasin Bhav is a very, very big quality. We all have it, since Swami has groomed us and made us understand. But we fail sometimes. There's no doubt about it. Things don't go wrong. Like a lot of money I lost initially. The first year when I lost was, painful. Now not recovered for 10 years. Slowly, Udasin now by force has come in. Yeah, you get used to it. Yeah, there's a joke in it. The man gets married. It's a Hindu one, and she says, "Ki Bindu, don't worry. तुम्हारी जिंदगी में आऊंगी सारे गम मिटा दूंगी. When I come into your life, all your misery will be disappearing." But that guy Bindu or whatever he says, but मेरी जिंदगी में गम है ही नहीं. I don't have any misery. नहीं शादी तो होने दो, पहले गम तो आएगा ही. Then I will remove it. So it's something like that on a lighter note. So yeah, this was an important thing for us to understand. What are the 4 qualities that Bhagavan expects, and how beautifully he shows this up today morning when I was surfing. Just check into Satsang Speaks and all. Beautifully he puts it up for us to.
What is the meaning of Gataveta?
What is that? Which one?
Gataveta. Is it Gataveta?
On the right.
Yeah, Anapeksha Suchit Daksha Udasino Gataveta.
Gataveta.
Gata Vyatha. That Udasina Gata Vyatha. Vyatha is,
Sorrow. Gataveta is sorrow.
sorrow. Vyatha is, you can't say actually, apni Vyatha suna tha. He was talking about his condition. Gata means he's going through that condition. So Udasin means when you're going through that condition, you are balanced in either state. This is what I understand. Because in a nutshell, the meaning of the sloka Swami explained is, the devotee of mine who is expecting nothing is pure, dexterous, unconcerned. So he ended up saying that who is expecting nothing. And here he has explained in one of the discourses in 1996 as to what is Udasin Bhava. On the right side that you see in the thought for the day. Everyone in the divine mission, unaffected by success or failure, joy or follow, will receive God's grace abundantly. Okay, so again, very important. Being a true devotee is to transit from science center activities to make science center of all the activities. It's extremely important to understand these two aspects. We come to science center, that's fine. But do we carry the science center within us? That's important. So all these activities that is on a periodic basis is fine as long as we pull Swami into each of our activities when we leave the science center. It's very easy to be a devotee at the center, but to be a good human being beyond the center is something which, it's like after training, you have put the guy now into the open roads. Go and ride the cycle and show me. So transit from I and Sai first. Initially, when the world is weighing heavy, correct? So we start doing satsang, doing namasmarana, doing seva, so that component automatically. It's not that we are reducing the world. Again, it's very important. Darkness, how do you fight darkness? Can't be less dark, less grey shade and then white and then no. Just light a lamp. So the moment you put these components more, the negativity starts receding on its own. In itself, darkness doesn't have an entity. Absence of light. Swami Vivekananda used to say, invisible light is darkness. So you used to see light even in that darkness and say invisible light is darkness. Sochiye, what a state of mind he used to be. What level of consciousness he used to exist in. To see positivity in extreme negativity also.
Half glass of full of water.
Half glass. Half full or half empty. And then the third one came. It's half full with water, half with air. There's nothing empty. Well, this is again an important part of how we look at things in life. Okay, there we go. God wants a bhavam, good feelings. He is not concerned with the packaging or methodology. Correct? It's so important for us to understand of our prayers. Serve Sai, not with vratas, processions, puja, rituals, abhisheka, paraphernalia of mantras. Serve Sai with satkarma, satachar, satvakya, good deeds, good conduct. Sai loves these most. That is the truth of Sai. That's the bottom line. What are we here to offer? The two offerings are good deeds, pure heart, tears of joy. And Bhagavan said, purity of mind, a must for enlightenment. You know how we reach there? Because if the tank is dirty, you open the tap, water coming out will be
Just
dirty.
go to the previous slide. The right side said, good deeds, pure heart,
Tears of joy.
and sense. So in Bhagavad Gita, it's also how to worship God. So he told us.
Next.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
You see how beautifully Swami rhymes this. No, I think it is there in the next slide. And then we'll take it on. But you see, it's so important to understand he's not interested in how many crores and what we have donated. Correct?
The brother, that letter that Swami took from that student.
100 rupees he saved and he offered.
The crores.
And Swami divinized him, glorified him in the entire hall, moving around like a child, I was told, in that veranda with that letter in hand.
So many times. I still remember vividly Madurai Chettiar sitting on the Kaila's pillar. We used to call that one pillar as Kaila's pillar. Because Kailas always used to sit there,
Kailas, yeah.
Used to follow Swami for our
yes.
and all that. So we used to sit there in his wheelchair. For 6 months, I still remember he was sitting, every day coming, sitting. Swami comes for darshan. He sometimes looks at him but no talk. One day he starts crying. This Chettiar was crying in the wheel. And Swami, he just looks at us, he smiles. Then he looks at him, he's crying and Swami is smiling. Ayyo Papam. Then he tells us, Ayyo Papam, he's waiting for so long. You know for what? He wants to offer something to Swami. But Swami is not accepting the good. The good. The chariot, I think it was the chariot. The golden chariot. So Swami said, I want this. But he's a good man. Then MD Swami also says he's very pure. But he has taken that much of time. So we don't know what is the inner purification, what was the process going on. So for 6 months, believe or not, he was looking at him or talking.
That is what matters to Bhagavan.
Finishes it in just that lighter moment with the small jokes.
The next one, purity of mind, chitta, basically, is must. No purity of the heart, no enlightenment. It's as simple as that. Finish. The conditions are laid. No amount of verbal pyrotechnics. Now look at this. When Katha and all are there, people talk about a lot of slokas and all. Last time we saw Swami said, Tapamsi nati khani, shastrani japa nahi, sansar sagro dhare, sajan se. No amount of verbal pyrotechnic, no intellectual gymnastics. Who can put this kind of explanation? Can liberate the seeker if the heart is filled with ego, pride, anger. जो बाहर आ रहा है नहीं, जो अंदर क्या है. The magnet is very powerful, but it attracts the iron filings only if the filings are free from rust. There may be diamond and pearls, but magnet will not attract them. That means Swami is magnet. I will not attract those unless your heart is pure. And Chitta Shuddhi, this pictorially shows how are we going to make that difference by the various activities that has been laid out by Bhagavan. Whether it is Nidhi Dhyashanam, Shravanam, any 9 form of devotion, Pada Sevanam, whether we include bhajans. Meera glorified bhajans, she attained Bhagavan. Her end, what it stated was, Rana was basically her husband's brother who started torturing and all. One day she left and she went to this. So everybody was told to follow her, where she has gone. So when all these security or whatever you call guards went there, they saw this Thakur Mandir, Krishna's Mandir. And I think her sandal or some mark was there which made them believe she's here. And the door was closed and sound was coming, of singing bhajans and all. Suddenly that stopped, received me. There was last bhajan which she sang. And when that sound stopped, they were trying to break open. Finally, they opened the door. They did not find her. Uski chunari reh gayi thi. Her only chunari was left. And it is said that Meera merged into Krishna. This is epitome of devotion. Just by bhajan, nama sankirtan. Namasmaran, correct? Sravanam Parikshit, by only Sravanam. That Odisha Sevadan who did the seva of taking out, clearing the sewage line in Puttaparthi, and Bhagwan came and evening told, you'll have no more birth. There is seva. Choose any marga. He is there to grant. But what is the sincerity in that mark we are using? It is 100% 24 karat sincere. That is what we have to speculate, introspect, and improve upon. All right? Chitta Shuddhi. The other day, in the office, when I told you about this bonus letter, that goes on, leisure talks goes on for a long time, and then he says, "Aapko to koi fark hi nahi padta hai." He's saying, the guys were discussing, it looks like it doesn't matter to you what, not that you display what you got or you didn't get it. I said, how does it matter? If you don't get salary, yes, that is your right. Bonus is something which company decides on certain basis, on certain feedback from certain individuals. And why should we be a bouncing ball between here and there? And this I feel attributed to Bhagwan, that, this part of understanding is very important. Because in the family also I see there are some who have millions, totally distraught. This doesn't guarantee you any peace. In fact, they are reciprocal to each other. The more you have, the more to falter are the chances. And that is why Suryadas existed. In fact, when he fell into the well, and then Krishna, as Balakrishna came, and then he pulled him out of the well, and then he was saying, why are you going? Baan chhuda ke jaate ho, dil chhuda ke dikha ke dikhao. That means you are leaving my hand and going. If you have the potential, try to leave me from my heart. That is where I've captured you. And God also cannot do anything. If you have captured him inside, he cannot. And then Krishna says, out of love for him, his devotion, he says, let me restore your eyesight. He wanted to restore, and Suryadas said, nahi chahiye. The moment I get the eyesight, I'll see everything except Krishna. Correct? Because the moment you open your eyes, now you're seeing only Krishna. The moment you open your eyes, I'll see Brother Satri, I'll be there, wife, bacha, khalas. So he knew the value of that vision which he got. We have an eyesight, but he had the vision. And that is the difference. Okay, so we'll do 5 minutes more. Okay, never mind. I have to go to one of the prayers where, last week I told you about one of my colleagues, he died in, so they have prayers today. And I was seeing they put live on some platform, the cremation in Australia. They did in Australia. That was very symbolic in the sense that there is no one who comes with you, no one who goes with you. And that was like electric crematorium in Tasmania, Australia. There were only 3 of them, 2 sons, his wife, and the Panditji. Wagleji, Captain Wagle was lying in that casket. They rolled off. And that was very symbolic. If people pick up, those kind of things, that you have come alone, you go alone. One of my colleagues, he just died last week. So it was very representative of that statement, what Alexander did, putting his hands out. I came empty-handed, I'll go empty-handed. Yes. Swami goes one step more. He says, you have come with a garland, karma mala. You have not come empty-handed. You have come with that to settle your prarabdha karmas. Keep that in mind. And when we go back, we'll again carry that to add into our sanchit karma. Again, from the same thing, we again take one portion. It's like from your bank account, you're taking again to kharcha karo. Okay, so we'll end with this particular one.
Brother, just thinking, Bhagavad Gita, morning sometimes I keep and hear also. I was thinking, Bhagavan has given his Gita, his a song 5,000 years ago. If you have to see, even by calendar. So you probably, I'm just thinking, Punarjanma, you must have gone, I don't know how many times in this 5,000 years, and that too as a human being again, to hear the Gita. So I must have heard a number of times, but what is that has changed, or where am I now? So that is the assessment.
But that is why you were with Swami. Brother, it's ages of that penance you call or whatever, which brought you to the feet, brought everyone to the feet of the Lord. It's not easy. That was the sadhus are saying. He said to Brother Vinay Kumar, "हम लोग को इजाजत नहीं है. We don't have the permission to go." He has stopped us from going there. And imagine they are doing sadhana only to get a glimpse of Lord, and here we are morning, evening. We are very blessed. Brother, you can go ahead with that sloka. I think it's a couple of slides later. I don't know, it is very relevant. Yeah. So
What was the four things equals to what is meant? Okay, don't go to sloka. I say what Lord Krishna in Gita says, Patram, Palam, Toyam, Pushpam. These are the four things when you how to worship God. You worship Patram, you know the leaf. Palam is the fruit. Toyam is water. And Pushpam is flower. So this is what you go any temple everywhere worship they use these four things. But Swami interpret that it is not the physical flower.
Yes.
What you buy from $2. And fruit you buy from the market, some apple or orange or banana. And toyam water you tap you take it. So Patram Palam, Toyam Pushpam, whatever you and leaf, sometimes they put whatever tulsi leaf or different leaves like. This is not Lord is looking for. Lord is looking for something is your pushpa is your hridaya pushpa. Your heart is the flower. Flower. Be pure. Hridaya in here. True. And where the heart is pure, you reside with it. And phalam means your karma phalam. Whatever, that is what karmani vadiharasya ma parishu kadayam. Whatever acts you do, God tagged with some phalam. Every act got a result, right? Phalam is there. So that phala pass to you. Whatever you good or bad, so clear you are a couple, pass with phala. And patram is your thoughts, I think. So body. Patram is body. And last one is toil. Toil is what? This should be come from your ears, your eye, with the feel. When you pray God, the feel. So many times, if you are really intensely connected, many times you go to temple, to the sanctum, to the idol. Normally, we will not open eyes. We close eyes and pray. The normal prayers, when you are doing, even though this idol is well beautified, sanctum is well decorated, if you really go with an intense prayer, we close our eyes and pray. And that time the tears should come from your eyes. That is the connection he is looking for, not the physical things, but you should have a transformation within inside. And that you want you give Samarpan. Then you Samarpan that holistically your body, your thoughts, your mind, and your work, Karmapala, and the tears should come and make your heart pure. That is the puja you have to do, not the other puja. When you go to temple, what the ayers or pandit they used to do, they chant something, they do a lot of other things. And when you do Archana, whatever, they simply chant something, they take this, that. And it is not focusing. And you are also not focusing. You want immediately, as soon as finish that, is no problem. So there is no connection happen. Once this connection happens, then it is done.
Correct. Okay. So we'll end up Samastaloka and then the last phases, so we can do next week. Do we have a session?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only
because
20th
Easter, no?
No, Easter no. We got the only off day is coming on 23rd. Aradhana is on Monday.
Yes.
24th.
Okay.
Right? So 23rd is Sunday. That day excessive. Otherwise, schools.
True.
But Aradhana post-school students, I think Monday is in lieu of off because Saturday is the Ramzan Hari Raya.
Same, 22nd.
Yeah. That's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Yeah. Because Saturday, schools got a compensatory off on Monday.
Oh.
But some companies give compensatory off.
No, ours get accrued in.
It's accrued. You have to take 1 month or something. Company rules are like that because it falls on Saturday.
Only if Sunday, then it goes on Monday automatically.
That's why, as per government rule, falls Sunday, next day is off. But it is on Saturday.
Saturday is coming.
His birthday, sorry, Ramzan. Or so it is working day Monday, but if you are this.
Every Ramzan has got Ram.
Yeah.
Hare and Ramzan. And every Diwali has Ali.
On the way.
Okay, we do Omkar and Samasta Loka. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलिए भगवान श्री सत्य साईं बाबा जी की जय. साईं.
So, Sadhan, when you say Samstaloka, I'm thinking of that soul soldier who took Swami's picture there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking really that war needs to end.
Sairam. Sairam, brother and sister, you brought a good point. Brother Anand had suggested that we do some time of Samuhik collective sadhana. So next session, we'll try to dedicate 10 minutes or 11 minutes of doing Samasta Loka together.
Yeah.
And then we can do that. Okay. Sairam, brothers and sisters, Sairam, thank you. Have a wonderful, blessed Sunday. We'll catch up again next week. Sairam. Okay.